presentation. Councilman O'Connell, are you ready or do you want, okay.
Oh, look at this. We have a new microphone. Is this ours? All right. Can you hear us, Madam Pro Tem?
Yes.
Is it on in the chamber? All right. I am delighted to be standing here with my colleague, Councilmember Hurt, who, gosh, it's probably been 15 years since we started working together on her projects with JUMP. And she was doing it long before I ever got there, but I'm delighted to be standing with her to present a resolution recognizing the 30th anniversary of Woodcuts Gallery and Framing on Jefferson Street. Sorry, I read that wrong, 35th. If you would start us off, Councilmember Hurt, right here.
Whereas on September 17th, 2022, Woodcuts Gallery and Framing celebrated the 35th anniversary of their business. And whereas owner Nathaniel Harris opened Woodcuts Gallery and Framing on September 18th, 1987, and whereas Harris leased a building from Fisk University and spent 5 months renovating the dilapidated property, and whereas Woodcuts Gallery and Framing is located on Jefferson Street in the heart of North Nashville. And whereas Nathaniel Harris is a founding member of the Jefferson Street United Merchants Partnership, also known as JUMP, and was instrumental in revitalizing the historic Jefferson Street corridor as its first president of its board. Whereas shortly after opening, Woodcuts was named Business of the Year in 1987 and went on to be featured in Decor magazine in the early 90s. And
whereas Nathaniel Harris has been committed to making a difference in the North Nashville community, and Woodcuts continues to serve as a ray of hope for aspiring entrepreneurs, youth, and college students. And whereas over the years, Woodcuts has demonstrated its dedication to the community by participating in programs such as Pencil, a program that helps the community invest in schools to bridge the resource gaps, provides adult role models for students and exposure to workforce opportunities. And whereas Woodcuts helped change the course of economic development on Jefferson Street and became a hub for artists including Ludi Amos, Michael McBride, Gregory Ridley, Jamal Sheets, and James Threlkel. And whereas the business served as an anchor location for the Jefferson Street Art Crawl from 2017 to 2019, and whereas in celebration of the 35th anniversary, Woodcuts Gallery and Framing received a historical marker from the Metro Historical Commission, recognizing its cultural significance in the North Nashville community. And whereas it is fitting and proper that the Metropolitan Council celebrates the 35th anniversary of Woodcuts Gallery and Framing and recognizes its history and contributions to the city of Nashville. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Council of the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County that the Metropolitan Council hereby goes on record as recognizing the 35th anniversary of Woodcuts Gallery and Framing. And we have with us Nate Harris from Woodcuts, and I think he knows a place where he can get this framed.
Oh, yes. Thank you very much, Councilman O'Connell and Councilwoman Hurt. I really appreciate it. I've enjoyed all 35 years at my business on Jefferson Street. It's sort of been a labor of love, so it's gone very fast. We look forward to many more years of serving the community. Thank you.
we want to recognize the wife because, we always have to recognize the better half of this. And I want people to know that there's a legacy because his daughter runs the shop now, and it's just been just a labor of love for the entire family, and I'm just so proud of them. Ms. Brenda.
Tom, or Sandra, would you mind trying to...
Are there any announcements? Councilmember Van Rees.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the opportunity to make sure that the community that may be watching has an update. We had a community meeting scheduled for Monday, the 24th, to discuss the artist lofts on Dickerson Pike. That meeting has been postponed to January the 5th. You can get information on that through the newsletter, but I wanted to make sure that you knew that that meeting had been postponed. The 25th, however, next Tuesday, we are going to still hold the virtual meeting at the rezoning of 121 Hart Lane. That'll be the Zoom meeting on the 25th that has been posted in the newsletters. Will go on. So the 25th is still on, but the 24th has been postponed. Also wanted to remind folks that this Thursday is the Madison Rivergate Area Chamber of Commerce Luncheon at St. Joseph Parish Center over in District 7, but the luncheon will include an update from the Madison Police Department on things that are happening along the corridor and throughout our community. And so I encourage you to come if you're a member of the Madison Chamber or if you just want to drop by and hear what's going on there. Also wanted to remind people that Saturday, the Rivergate, Madison Chamber of Rivergate Commerce is having the Cornhole Tournament at Yazoo Brewing Company over in District 9. So we're all about the 789 collection here in Madison. Want to make sure everybody was aware of those things happening. And I believe that is all I have for this month, still pending for our District 8 community. Wanted to remind folks that I will be out of town with my father celebrating his 93rd birthday, and I will be gone. I know, it's amazing. I will be gone this October the 29th through November the 6th, and so I'll be missing the next meeting, so I wanted to make sure folks knew they were looking for me, that's where I was. And then on the second meeting in November here at Metro Council on the 15th, I will actually be on my way to Kansas City for the League of Cities, going in a day early so that morning of the 16th, I'm able to visit the new women's soccer practice facility that has just broken ground. So I'm going to miss the next couple meetings. I want to make sure people understood that that's what was happening. I'm happy to serve wherever I might be. I'll be watching you guys online. Thanks.
Councilman Withers.
Thank you so much for recognizing me. I just have two quick announcements for District 6. The first is that on this coming Thursday, October 20th starting at 5:30 p.m., Canvas Lounge is opening at 1105 Fatherland Street in the former Bill Martin's. They are seeking a beer sales permit. They have met with the Neighborhood Association a couple of times, and are having an open house there at the Canvas space, which is at the corner of 11th and Fatherland, to meet with neighbors in an open house setting, so neighbors can check out their space and have any questions or concerns that they may have about the beer sales there addressed. So that's on Thursday at 5:30 at 1105 Fatherland. And then on Monday, October the 24th at 6 o'clock p.m., I'm covering for Councilmember Benedict, who's out of the office. I will be having a community meeting at the South Englewood Community Center regarding a contextual overlay proposal. And again, that is on Monday, October the 24th at 6 p.m. at the South Englewood Community Center. So thank you for that.
Councilman Bradford.
Thank you, Pro Tem. I have a few announcements for individuals in District 13, the first of which is I will be having a final redevelopment meeting over the Maspin development on the 27th. It will be at 6 p.m. at Arlington United Methodist Church. We'll be going over the final plans and going over the next steps. Secondly, on the 28th, South Precinct will be hosting their annual Halloween trunk or treat in District 13 at the Metro Southeast facility located at 1417 Murfreesboro Pike. That will be from 6 to 8 p.m. So I invite members of the community as well as our at-large representatives and all of our South Precinct Council members to come out and help hand out candy to the kids that night. And finally, for residents in the Donaldson area, they can come out on Saturday, this Saturday at 11 a.m. and watch myself and Councilmember Syracuse make fools of ourselves at the 50 Forward Donaldson Station Cornhole Tournament hosted by the Grumpy Old Baggers Cornhole Association. Tomorrow is the deadline. If you'd like to register your own team, it's a $50 registration fee, and you can contact 50 Forward Donaldson Station or go by in person and pay your registration. Again, that is this Saturday. Bags fly at 11 a.m.
Councilman Mendez.
Thank you. So with the big announcement from the team, the Titans, and the mayor's office yesterday, that after a couple years of negotiation behind closed doors, they're ready to share the deal with the public and the council. The East Bank Stadium Committee will be having a meeting next week, Wednesday, October 26th at 4:30 in the chamber to get a more detailed presentation about the terms of the deal. The non-binding term sheet that they're putting before us is supposed to be out today, tomorrow, sometime soon. We're going to get it on the East Bank Stadium Committee's website as soon as we get a copy of it. The committee is going to set up a schedule of meetings in the weeks to come to cover different aspects of the proposal, including community benefits, economic impact, the design, and then we don't have it scheduled yet because it's still late-breaking news, but we're going to have, I think, 5 community meetings at different places around the county to get the community's feedback about the proposal, hopefully before we vote on the non-binding term sheet that was announced yesterday. Thank you.
Councilman Taylor.
Thank you, Pro Tem. I want to announce a few events in District 21. On Thursday, October 27th, we're going to be hosting a town hall meeting at St. James Missionary Baptist Church located at 628th Avenue North, beginning at 6 p.m. We're going to be discussing emergency preparedness as well as tax freeze and tax relief for constituents. Then we also have our second movie night out north in North Nashville. It's going to be on Halloween, Monday, October 31st. It's going to be at Clinton B. Fisk Park, located at 2410 Birch Street in North Nashville, and that's going to be from 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Come out for free food, fun, games. We'll do a trunk or treat as well as a costume contest. So thank you so much, Chair.
Are there any other announcements from council? Oh, okay. Oh. Councilwoman Gamble.
Thank you, Pro Tem. I'd like to remind everyone that there will be a District 3 quarterly community meeting on October 25th at 6 p.m. at Bellshire Elementary School, and that's at 1128 Bell Grimes Lane. We'll be hearing from representatives from Metro Water as well as a representative from Trustee Erica Gilmore's office. So please come out on October 25th at 6 p.m. at Bellshire Elementary. Thank you.
Councilman O'Connell.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I just wanted to reference a couple things. One, early voting starts tomorrow in our November 8th election is actually election day, but early voting starts tomorrow for the state and federal election. You can find 2022 election information, including your early voting schedule and those early voting sites at vote.nashville.gov. It does open at the Howard office building in the Sunny West Conference Room out on 2nd Avenue South. Wednesday, October 19th to Monday, October 24th, that is the only location that's open. All early voting locations open next week on Tuesday, October 25th. That includes sites like Belmead City Hall, Bellevue Library, Bordeaux Library, Casa Azafran Community Center, Edmondson Pike Library, Goodlettsville Delmas Long Community Center, Green Hills Library, Hermitage Library, Howard Office Building, Madison Library, Margaret Maddox East YMCA, and Southeast Library. This week, you will be able to vote at the Howard Office Building. Do check out that sample ballot. There are some important state concepts constitutional amendments to consider, but I encourage everyone to go out and take advantage of early voting. Make a plan to vote, vote early, and avoid traffic and long lines on Election Day. This is a critical election. The other thing I wanted to mention is last night, the emergency overflow shelter was open. I encourage folks to visit coldweathernashville.com. That is where the cold weather community response plan is located. It does have emergency shelter information there. There are some key community partners who make this community response plan work, and it is worth supporting them if you can. So again, that is coldweathernashville.com. The cold weather period typically runs from November 1st through March, but we did have a cold snap this week, and I appreciate all the partners who have pulled together to take care of the unsheltered when it is cold. Thank you, Madam Pro Tem.
Councilwoman Stiles.
Thank you, Pro Tem. I just wanted to make an announcement. Next Wednesday is the District 32 community meeting. It will be at the Southeast Community Center at 6 o'clock. We will be discussing the master plan for the Global Mall site, as well as we will have candidates that are running for office. Heidi Campbell will be joining us, and a couple of other candidates, and they have not confirmed yet, but are supposed to be coming. And we'll also be doing community updates. In the future, we'll be doing our meetings separately. There'll be one meeting for global mall planning, and there'll be a separate meeting for our district community meeting. And tomorrow evening, we are going to have a pilot program for traffic calming with NDOT for Pebble Creek Drive. That is going to be at the Southeast Community Center as well. That's going to be at 6 o'clock. So the residents on that street will be present. NDOT is sending, Director Alarcon is coming, as well as Jason Oldham and Brad Freeze to talk about this pilot program, which takes place in between the traffic calming sessions. And Pebble Creek Drive actually is one of our dividing lines for districts. So it will be District 32 and District 28 members, Councilmember Vercher. Thank you.
Councilwoman Welch.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. I would just like to pick up a little more on what my colleague, Councilmember O'Connell, was talking about. The midterm election early voting does start tomorrow, and in this election we are voting for governor, U.S. House, Tennessee House, state senator, and there are 4 constitutional amendments. Due to redistricting, you might be in a different polling place. You might also be in a different congressional district. There is a tool on the Tennessee Secretary of State's office website that will help you find that. Please make sure you know where you're going if you wait till Election Day to vote. Councilmember O'Connell gave you all the locations for early voting, which starts tomorrow, and that continues through November 3rd. It is not too late to get an absentee ballot. You have until November 1st to request that ballot. It just needs to be returned by Election Day on November 8th. You can go to vote.org to find your polling place and to request a mail-in ballot if you don't want to go to the Secretary of State. This is an important election. Those 4 constitutional amendments will have a huge impact on life here in Tennessee. I would ask you to vote no on Amendment 1, which would codify right to work in the Tennessee State Constitution. We already have right to work in our Tennessee code. We don't need to codify it in the Constitution and tie our hands. And Amendment 3, I would ask you to vote yes on Amendment 3, which would take the legalization of slavery out of our state constitution, something that should have happened a long, long time ago. This is a very important election. I encourage everyone to get out and vote, and please make plans with all your friends. Encourage everyone to show up at the polls because you may not get a chance to do this again if we don't all participate and stand up for our democracy. Thank you.
Councilwoman Porterfield.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. We had some great announcements today. Thank you, Councilmember Welsh and Councilmember O'Connell. You all hit one of my announcements, so that's one list that I need to do. I wanted to invite everyone out in District 29, as well as any of our surrounding districts, Southeast Nashville and Antioch. On Saturday, we are having a District 29 bulk item drop-off at Compton's, located at 2808 Old Smith Springs Road. Of course, we're going to have free shredding, so you can bring your documents out for shredding. We're also going to have bulk item pickup as well as Thrift Smart on site for any clothing donations or any other donations that you have. We'll also have trucks going out picking up items that have been dumped out in the district. So if you've seen, a mattress or a couch or something that unfortunately has not been picked up yet, you can send me an email. You can send it to our beautification commissioner, beautifydistrict29@gmail.com, or you can send it to me at delicia.porterfield@nashville.gov or delicia4district29@gmail.com. We'll make sure to hit those locations and get those picked up. Again, that will be this Saturday, October the 22nd from 9 a.m. to 12 noon at Compton's Foodland. And thank you to Compton's for always being such a great community partner. And as always, we're also going to have some hot dogs out there to feed our volunteers. Another event that's happening same day, Saturday, October 29th from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. at our Smith Springs Community Center. We're having a Barks and Treats event. So make sure to dress up your fur baby. We're having a costume contest, giveaways, demos, and more. So they are hoping to see tails wagging and happy pups. Again, that's this Saturday, October 29th from 10 to 2 at the Southeast Community Center. There will be food trucks, giveaways, agility and obedience demos, and more. And lastly, some of our community partners, Hamilton United Methodist Church and United Family Fellowship, are presenting a fall festival and trunk or treat Sunday, October the 30th. From 12 noon to 4 p.m. will be the fall festival, and from 4 to 5 p.m. will be the trunk or treat, and that's located at 3105 Hamilton Church Road. So we hope to see you at some or all of those events. Thank you.
Councilwoman Bircher.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Want to announce to District 28, there will be, this is an NDOT traffic common meeting for Pebble Creek tomorrow, Wednesday, 6 p.m., the Southeast Community Center, 5260 Hickory Hollow Parkway. Also extending this invitation to the Edgeo Lake residents as well over in District 29, because this impacts their daily commutes and school bus routes as well. If you're not able to join in person, there's also a virtual option. My understanding is that NDOT should have notified the surrounding neighborhoods for attendance for this meeting. And I want to say for our faith-based organizations, I apologize in advance. I know we had a community agreement that we would not do community meetings on Bible study nights, so I apologize in advance. That was not scheduled by me, but this meeting was actually scheduled by NDOT. So just want to let you know that we're not trying to take away our great neighbors from attending Bible study on Wednesdays. Also, tomorrow is early voting, so you want to make sure that you check your voter registration, specifically for District 28 neighbors. Some of your polling precincts have changed, given the dynamic that we have 3 different zip codes in the district. So make sure you check your voter registration, 1. And then 2, make a plan to vote. And then 3, take a neighbor to vote. Early voting begins tomorrow at the Howard Office Building. Early voting there will be from October 19th through October 24th. And please make note of, if you don't want to drive downtown to vote at the Howard Office Building, that our precinct out in Southeast opens up Tuesday, October 25th through Thursday, November 3rd. Again, check your registration status, make a plan to vote, and take a neighbor to vote. Also, I want to let you know that the Metro Action Commission, they are extending their customer service hours beginning this Friday, October 21st, and this is to respond to the increased volume of applications received for assistance with utility, rent, mortgage, and other payment assistance programs as well. Also want to let you know that the Metro Social Services, the Overflow Weather Shelter has been activated as well out in Southeast, the Southeast Library, that is 5260 Hickory Hollow Parkway, that's Antioch, and that's from 6 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Again, if you need any assistance as it relates to cold weather overflow, you can either text 615-4483 or contact Metro Social Services at 615-862-6391. Madam Speaker, I'm trying to go through all my announcements here. And I believe that concludes everything that I have for the district. Thank you for being so gracious, Madam Speaker.
Councilwoman Sepulveda.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem. We have a District 30 rezoning meeting for 4608, 4612 Nolensville Pike. It's currently a car lot, and the rezoning would be an SP for some affordable housing units. That's on the 24th at 6 p.m. at Haywood Elementary. We have a community cleanup on October the 29th from 10 to 12 p.m. We will be meeting at the corner of Largo Drive and Wallace Road. And we have our first park planning meeting. So that will be October the 25th at 6 p.m. at Cole Elementary. And then the site tour / scavenger hunt will be November 5th at 10 a.m. through 1 p.m. And you will meet at Cole Elementary and be shuttled over to the new park in District 30 on Tusculum Road. And like my colleague said, it is early voting starts tomorrow, so las votaciones tempranas empiezan mañana, so haz tu plan para votar. Puedes empezar a votar en Howard Office Building. Y eso sería octubre 19 hasta octubre 24. Y las otras zonas de votación estarán abiertas de octubre 25 hasta noviembre 3. Thanks.
And before I get to the repeat, folks, there are 2 upcoming meetings in District 2. Next Tuesday, October 25th at 6 p.m. in the community room in the North Precinct, as well as Monday, November 7th, 6 p.m., same place, community room in the North Precinct. That's October 25th and November 7th. Councilman Syracuse, I don't think I've called on you.
That's okay. Thank you so much, Pro Tem. 2 meetings to tell District 15 neighbors about this Thursday, October 20th, for Lincoln Hills neighbors. This will be our 3rd meeting regarding a potential contextual overlay for the neighborhood, where I'll also be presenting an alternative proposals. So it's this Thursday, October 20th, Lincoln Hills neighborhood. It'll be at Lincoln Hills Baptist Church on McGavick Pike. So look forward to seeing folks there. And then 1 week from tonight, I'm going to be having a District 15 town hall, and that will be at 54 Donaldson Station. Lots to talk about, lots of things going on in the district, including the new library, the revitalization of Donaldson Station, and everything in between. So that will be next Tuesday, October 25th, 6 p.m. at 54 Donaldson Station. Thank you so much, Pro Tem.
Councilwoman Gamble.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem, for indulging me one more time. I forgot to mention earlier that District 3 will be having a community cleanup as well on October 22nd, this Saturday from 8 to 1 p.m. We'll be meeting at the Parkwood Community Center on Valeview Drive. So again, District 3 community cleanup this Saturday, October 22nd from 8 a.m. to 1 p.m. Meeting to receive supplies and drop off trash and other debris at Parkwood Community Center on Valeview Drive. Thank you.
Councilwoman Stiles.
Thank you very much, Pro Tem. I neglected to mention that our Kite Fest is this Saturday and next Saturday at Mill Ridge Park from 10 to 4. They have free kites. You're able to watercolor. There are snacks available. There's some bird watching on site as well. There is the trunk or treat for the South Precinct on October 27th from 6 to 8 p.m. And also next Saturday is also a Fall Fest at Rural Hill Church of Christ from 10 to 2. Thank you so very much.
Councilwoman Porterfield.
Thank you, Madam Pro Tem, for the opportunity to speak again. My apologies. I did forget to announce that the ballots have closed and the results are in. I want to thank all of our neighbors that supported our traffic calming projects, everyone that came out to the community meetings, those that knocked on doors with me to get signatures, to talk to the community. All three of our current projects have passed. Castlegate with 100% in favor, Owendale with 100% in favor, and Forest View Drive with 97% in favor. So all three of those traffic calming projects are currently moving forward. We're now ready to move into the next phase of the process, which is installation. Materials are in the process of being ordered, and the timeline has typically been about 3 to 6 months. So by the spring, we should definitely see the speed cushions for Castlegate, Owendale, and Forest View. So again, thank you to our neighbors that helped participate in this process. To the Edge of Lake community, we had our initial community meeting about that traffic calming project. So the second meeting will be scheduled as soon as NDOT finishes their renderings. I'll be reaching back out to you all so that you can come back out for the second round of meetings for that. So thank you.
All right, it is 6:30. Councilwoman Hauser, you're the last person.
Yes, I have 2 items to announce. On October 25th, the long-awaited Charlotte Pike traffic study will be presented to the community. That's at 6 o'clock, October 25th, at the Bellevue Regional Community Center. This has been a cooperation between NDOT, TDOT, and planning, and will really lead the direction of what we do on Charlotte Pike in the future. And then there's going to be some fun on Friday, the 28th, at the Bellevue Regional Community Center. It's going to be Halloween time with not only the type of things you expect, but also some games and fun times. So that is going to be from 4 to 6, Friday, October 28th, at the Bellevue Regional Community Center.
That concludes announcements.
Tonight's meeting of the Metropolitan, Nashville, and Davidson County Council is coming to you live from the council chambers at the historic Metro Courthouse. It's a public affairs presentation of the Metro Nashville Network. Good evening, everyone. I'm Pat Nolan, your announcer for this program. Tonight, the 15th Metropolitan Council holds its 75th business meeting before your term. This is the 21st meeting of council for 2022. That includes one special adjourned meeting held earlier this calendar year. Tonight's council agenda is 35 pages long, containing 86 items. That includes a public comment period and 3 resolutions on public hearing. There are 17 regular resolutions, 22 first reading bills, 11 second reading measures, and 31 ordinances on third and final reading. The council in addition will consider 9 appointments from Mayor John Cooper to city boards and commission. The council will also elect someone to a vacant seat on the city's Health and Educational Facilities Board. The choice will come from among 5 nominations submitted by council members. Among the mayor's boards and commission appointments, 1 is to the Metro Power Board, another to the Historical Commission, and a third to the Traffic and Parking Commission. There is also a reappointment to the Short-Term Rental Appeals Board and 5 reappointments to the Wastewater Hearing Authority. All those who are confirmed and or elected will serve multi-year terms and will do so as unpaid volunteers. As usual, there are several major pieces of legislation before the council tonight. One on third and final reading is BL 2022-1383. It would prohibit smoking and the use of vapor products in certain age-restricted venues. The council has struggled over what establishments might still be exempt from the ban. That raises the question of if the bill will get the required 21 votes for final passage. However, the sponsors are confident there are no amendments allowed tonight, and they believe they have the votes to pass it on third reading. Another bill on second reading, BL 2022-1475, will generate some conversation, perhaps, as it revisits an issue that was quite controversial in the last term of the council. The bill would approve a contract with LAZ Laws Parking Georgia LLC relating to the operation and management of the city's on-street metered parking program within the public right-of-ways. The firm would seek to modernize and make the city's parking meter system more efficient and convenient, as well as maximize the value of the program for funding future traffic and parking improvements for Metro Metro. Back in 2019, under then Mayor David Briley, there was a parking meter proposal that had the same objectives but was not approved by the council, failed to be approved, in part due to opposition by then Metro Councilmember at Large John Cooper. The bill before the council tonight is Mayor Cooper's proposal. Let's see how the council responds. The full lease and several other details were included in the council's late agenda. Studying those details could perhaps mean the need for a deferral tonight, but the bill did pass as is in the Budget and Finance Committee yesterday. Under resolutions, the council will consider 3 bills related to pedestrian traffic and bike safety. RS 2022-1819 would apply for a $26 million grant from the Federal Department of Transportation to construct safety improvements for those walking, bicycling, or using transit along Nolensville Pike between McCall Street and Haywood Lane. That's a total of 2.5 miles. If approved, the grant will require a local match from Metro of $6.5 million. Another resolution, RS 2022-1818, would approve applying for a $4.7 million grant from the state to replace 2 bridges over 2 active CNS rail lines within the right-of-way, both in Madison and in East Nashville neighborhoods. The bridge in Madison is located on Due West Avenue. The bridge in East Nashville is located on Eastland Avenue. Metro's match for this project, again, if it's approved, would be almost $3.7 million, again, if the grant is approved. Finally, under RS 2022-1817, the council would accept a $60,000 grant from the state. The grant would be used to create PSAs regarding behavioral changes that could be used for education and the marketing of bicycle and pedestrian safety. No local matches are required for this. Under memorializing resolutions, the council will honor the career and retirement of State Senator Brenda Gilmore, as well as the 200th anniversary of the city cemetery. The council will also mark the 25th anniversary of Thistle Farms and its founder, Reverend Becca Stevens, for their inspiring work on behalf of women surviving, recovering, and healing from prostitution, trafficking, and addiction. The council will also designate October as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. The council will also be asked to consider a late resolution asking the body to go on record against the state constitutional amendment number 1, which is on the November 8th ballot, that would place the right to work laws the state has into the state constitution. Under second reading legislation, the council will again consider ordinance BL 2022-1381 that would require any payments in lieu of taxes made by the Convention Center Authority to be utilized for affordable housing initiatives. Details of all this have been led to 2 deferrals of the measure, and a few council members seem to continue to be concerned that designating tax payments to something of specific use only can be a problem. There's an amendment tonight that would allocate in lieu of funds coming from the CCA for use in workforce housing projects as well as affordable housing, and to limit the funds being spent in any one single fiscal year. Council has also struggled with BL 2022-1384 to make changes to the city's very popular traffic calming program. In fact, at its last meeting on October 4th, the council took the unusual step of rescinding approval of this bill on second reading. It's back on second reading again tonight. Let's see what happens. There are more amendments being offered, and a substitute ordinance also pending. Another bill deferred twice on second reading is BL 2022-1405. It would permanently extend the relaxed regulations on Sidewalk Cafe dining facilities within the public right-of-way. The original effort was to provide some relief to restaurants impacted by COVID-19, the resulting social distancing and seating capacity requirements, but the details of the new measures seem to have led to these deferrals so far. There is also a substitute ordinance now being proposed as well. If you want to follow tonight's council meeting as it progresses, you can find the agenda and the staff analysis online. If you just go to the Metro Council portion of the Nashville.gov website, then on the Legislative Information Center. We'll also be placing the bill numbers on the screen when they come up for consideration so you can follow along and keep up with where we are on tonight's agenda. Let's go now to Vice Mayor Jim Shulman. He'll be gaveling tonight's council meeting to order shortly.
Can you see that? Yeah. All right, will the meeting please come to order? We welcome welcome you to the Metro Council. Today is Tuesday, October 18th, 2022. Will all members of the council, as well as the public, please rise for the invocation. Remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. Our invocation tonight is brought to us by Senior Pastor Troy Holbert of the St. Luke's Missionary Baptist Church, a guest of Councilmember Tanaka Vercher.
Let us pray. Father, how grateful and thankful we are for this night. We thank you, Lord God, for these leaders, Vice Mayor, and all those that have joined together to take care of the business. And we pray, Lord God, that you will bless our leaders, bless those appointees, and allow them to work together continuously to help the constituents of our nation. For it is in the name of Jesus we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible.
All right, y'all may be seated, except for the banger of the gavel. It's a little hard for him to sit down. The banger of the gavel tonight is Rescue Rex, and he is our friendly dinosaur. So Rescue Rex teaches pre-K through second graders when and how to call 911. And he does that at no cost to the schools. Thank you. So he also is trying to get the word out about what he's available to do, which is obviously to go teach, and especially young people about the importance of 911, when to use it, and how to call. He is assisted tonight by Ruby Baker, who is standing right next to him, who... Ms. Baker is a member of the Emergency Communications District Board, and I would say that Rescue Rex is here because he is a very good friend of Councilmember Jeff Syracuse. So, Rescue Rex, I'm not sure if you went to Councilmember Syracuse's wedding, but I'd heard that you might have been his best man, so I don't know. Anyway, Rescue Rex, thank you for being here, and go out and do good. All right? You all join me in thanking Rescue Rex. Now, it may take a few minutes for Rescue Rex to get out of here. Okay, here he goes. All right, without objection, we will suspend the calling the roll and ask the clerk to record the names of those members present throughout the meeting. Is there a motion for adoption of the minutes of the meeting from October 4th, 2022? See a motion properly seconded. Without objection, the minutes of the meeting will stand approved as written. Mr. Clerk, any messages from the mayor?
There are no messages from the mayor.
All right, thank you. All right, a couple of things to note. The first is obviously you all read that the Mayor Cooper and the Tennessee Titans jointly announced yesterday a proposal that, if passed by this body, will result in a new enclosed multi-purpose stadium. You should have received a letter from the mayor yesterday that contained drafts of a resolution and an ordinance to be considered. Please review those. These measures have not been filed formally, but will most likely come to this body in November. And I know that the task force that has been chaired by Councilmember Bob Mendes has been meeting, and Councilmember Mendes, I understand that there is a meeting next week of the task force, and I'm calling on you for details.
Thanks. The East Bank Stadium Committee will be meeting next Wednesday, October 26th at 4:30 in the chamber. It'll be recorded and televised like our other meetings have been. And as soon as we have the actual legislation and the non-binding term sheet that they're going to put in the legislation, as soon as we have that, we'll get it on the committee website. But next Wednesday, the 26th, 4:30, the whole council is obviously welcome to join, but the committee will meet then to hear a more detailed presentation from the mayor's office about the components of the term sheet that we'll consider.
Okay, thank you, council member. Obviously, there's a much more information headed to the council, and I know there'll be many meetings chaired by Councilmember Mendes of the task force, so please try to attend. As you may remember, we had reissued the notice for vacancy on the Community Oversight Board because we had not received any nominations. It is my understanding that a couple of nominations have now come in, and so we will now head through the regular process in terms of screening and then eventually voting for a member of the Community Oversight Board. So that's been handled. We will hold an executive committee meeting of the Metro Council on Thursday, November the 3rd, 2022 at 5 p.m. in Committee Room 1. We sent notices out about that. I understand that just listening to announcements, there was a lot of discussion about voting, early voting, as many members of the council stated. Early voting starts tomorrow at the Howard office building. Additional early voting sites open up on Tuesday, October the 25th, and run through Thursday, November the 3rd. Election day is Tuesday, November the 8th, and as I heard council members say, please go and vote. It is very important. Please go and vote. Last night, the cold weather came. It got down to 32 degrees, and thanks to the folks at Metro Social Services and the Metro Homeless Impact Division, they opened the winter overflow shelter early. It usually starts November the 1st. They opened last night because it got to 32 degrees. The interesting thing about that was that in the past, they've opened it at 28 degrees. They have raised that temperature to 32 degrees, and they will be opening throughout the winter when it's 32 degrees or scheduled to be 32 degrees. That's a very, very big deal. I think we need to thank Metro Social Services and the Metro Homeless Impact Division. I will tell you that I understood this morning that there were 105 people that went to the overflow shelter last night. And if you remember, it was about 60 degrees yesterday afternoon, but 105 people used the overflow shelter last night. One other thing, obviously there is a lot of sad things happening around our country still and around the world, including Ukraine. I would ask that you all please keep hoping for better things for everyone, for people's safety and for peace. And with that, we are ready to proceed ahead. Councilmember Murphy, I know Rules Committee met for a while. Is there a report from the Rules Committee?
There are plenty of reports. Would you like me to start with boards and commissions or move on to elections?
Let's do boards and commissions first, and then we'll go back to the election to fill the seat on the Health and Educational Facilities Board.
All right, so boards and commissions that we had tonight was the Electric Power Board appointment of Mr. Clifton Harris for a term expiring on July 1, 2024, and we approved them at 6 in favor, 0 against.
Okay. Do you want to do them all?
I'll do them all. I'll run through them all. We next had Historic Commission appointment of, the Historical Commission appointment of Dr. Marissa Richmond for a term expiring August 10th, 2026, 6 in favor, 0 against. The Short-Term Rental Appeals Board reappointment of Mr. Phil Capucci is going to be deferred 1 meeting, 6 in favor, 0 against. Traffic and Parking Commission appointment of Mr. Mishaw Adams for a term expiring on April 3rd, 2023, approved 6 in favor, 0 against. Now we had several for the Wastewater Hearing Authority reappointments, and they all end on October 1st, 2024. So that would be Miss Ruthie Cherry, Mr. David Gillish, Mr. Jay Tant, and Dr. Edward Taskin, and Dr. Robert Wingfield. Those were all 6 in favor, 0 against. And that concludes our boards and commission appointments.
All right, Councilmember Murphy, let me ask you one question. I understood that 2 of the reappointments on the Wastewater Hearing Authority, Ms. Cherry and Mr. Gillis, their questionnaires were a little bit late coming in. Is that right?
They were.
Okay. Without objection, we're just going to waive that unless anybody has an objection to the question. They did come in. They
were all here and all had excellent answers that made us happy about our wastewater handlement.
All right, great. Okay, without objection, we will let those reports come in. Councilmember Murphy, if you would, with the exception of
Mr. Phil Cabucci. I'd love to move for approval.
Okay, you got it. So Mr. Cabucci will be, that's deferred one meeting. Councilmember Murphy has moved for approval of the other reappointments and appointments, properly seconded. Any discussion on any of the appointments or reappointments? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. The motion is adopted. So if you all will please, when I call your name, please stand and remain standing. We're going to thank you at the end. Electric Power Board, Mr. Clifton Harris. Mr. Harris. Historical Commission, Dr. Marissa Richmond. I've got Traffic and Parking Commission, Mr. Meshach Adams. Was I close enough? Okay. I wasn't close at all. Mr. Adams, am I close? There you go. Ms. Ruthie Cherry. That's for the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Mr. David Gillis for the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Mr. Jay Tant for the Wastewater Hearing Authority. Dr. Edward Thaxton, Wastewater Hearing Authority. And Dr. Robert Wingfield, Wastewater Hearing Authority. There is everybody. Thank you all for going through this process. Thank you all for agreeing to serve. Thank you for serving the city of Nashville. You all are welcome to stay if you want. Otherwise, you may want to go right now. All right, Councilmember Murphy, I'm going to go back to you. This is for E2 on your agenda. It's on page 1. This is the election to fill the vacancy for a term expiring on September 30th, 2028 for the Health and Educational Facilities Board. Councilmember Murphy, you're recognized.
Thank you. We had, do you want me to run through each name? We had Miss Danielle Cotton, Mr. Brian Hale, Mr. Stephen Meyer, Mr. Matt Pulley, and Miss Kelly Osman. And they were all met the qualifications set before us and approved on through for the election by the council.
Okay, so it is my understanding, and let me just get those individuals to stand so we'll recognize them. Miss Danielle Cotton, there's Miss Cotton. Mr. Brian Hale, there's Mr. Brian Hale. Mr. Stephen Meyer, okay. Mr. Matt Pulley, and Miss Kelsey Osman. There's Miss Osman. Okay. So those are the 5 individuals. Y'all can sit back down. This may take a little while. So there is one vacancy to fill the term. It expires on September 30th, 2028. The way this works is we follow Rule 50 and also Rule 23, which says that we have to pick somebody with 21 votes. We are now passing out ballots. I believe they are unmarked, and what we will need for you to do is write your name on it, and it may have a place for your district number, and then you can select one name. The names are up on the board, but you can only vote for one. Councilmember Roberts, you can only vote for one, all right? And then what we will do is we will tabulate the votes, and we will take either the top 2 or 3, or if there's a clear winner on the first round, if somebody gets 21 votes, then we will declare that individual the winner. 2 or 3, we're going to see what the votes are. If there are 2 clear top runners in the front in terms of the votes, we'll take those 2, but we always say 3 just in case there's a tie in there someplace. Councilmember Young is showing the right format for holding up his ballot when he is finished. Please try to follow his lead. votes are in. Councilmember Roberts, did you just vote for one? Okay, thank you. We are tabulating the votes. We don't believe that anybody voted for Rescue Rex, but we're checking. All right, so I'm going to read the vote totals. Ms. Cotton got 8 votes. Mr. Hale got 3 votes. Mr. Meyer got 10 votes. Mr. Pulley got 10 votes. And Ms. Osmond got 3 votes. So the top 2 vote getters each got 10. Well, I think because there was a tie for the top 2, or the top position, I think we just take the top 2 and vote for that. Okay. Any objections with that? Let's see. Councilmember Porterfield.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Can we get clarity on the rule? Would it not be the top 3?
I can ask the director if she's got an opinion on that one.
It would be the top two vote getters. There was a tie for the top two. Had there been 3 people with 10, I don't know if we would have had the ability, 3 people with 10 votes each, then we would have a runoff amongst the 3. But the top 2 both had 10 votes, and there needs to be a runoff. We need to have one person with 21 votes to win.
We typically try to pare it down to 2. We say 3 because sometimes there's a tie for second place, and that's when we put the third one in. Okay. Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you. Just clarity from the council. Is it 21 votes or a majority of voting?
It'll need to be 21 votes.
Oh, cool. All right. Thanks so much.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? Councilmember Lee.
Thank you, sir. Would you ask the 2 top ones to stand again, please?
Certainly. Mr. Stephen Meyer, right there. Mr. Stephen Meyer is right there. And then Mr. Matt Pulley is in the back. Is that okay? All right. All right, we're passing out the ballots again. You can vote for 1. Are all ballots in? Yeah. So We're gonna go through them. The clerk is gonna read each ballot. We have the vote total from the last vote. It'll go in the public record, so it's transparent. But for purposes of just making sure everything's clear, we're gonna have the clerk check with each of you like we have done in the past. We will go through, call your name, and then indicate who you voted for, and just make sure that is correct. Mr. Clerk, are you ready? Okay.
All right, Councilmember Mendez for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Hurt for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Allen for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Suara for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Toombs for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Gamble for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Parker for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Withers for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Van Rees for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Hancock for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Young for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Evans for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Bradford for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Roden for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Syracuse for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Welsh for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Sledge for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Cash for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember O'Connell for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Druffel for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Murphy for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Roberts for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Taylor for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Hauser for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Pulley for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Johnston for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Nash for Stephen Meyer. Councilmember Porterfield for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Sepulveda for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Rutherford for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Stiles for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Lee for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Henderson for Matt Pulley. Councilmember Rosenberg for Matt Pulley. The vote total is Mr. Meyer 13 and Mr. Matt Pulley 21. Mr. Pulley, you are elected to serve on the Health and Educational Facilities Board. Congratulations. I will say Mr. Meyer has served on the Health and Educational Facilities Board for many, many years. I think long before I was ever on the council, and that was many, many years ago. But no, Mr. Meyer, thank you for your service. We very much appreciate your willingness to serve all these many years. Thank you. We are now ready for public comment period. I do not believe, I was told this afternoon that there was no one who had signed up, but I'm just checking. Did anyone sign up to speak to the council under public comment period? Mr. Pulley, looks like he's coming up to speak, but we're not going to let him. Okay, he's getting ready to leave. Anybody sign up? All right, seeing none, we will go on. We're on resolutions on public hearing. This is on page 3. We have back Mr. Brommuller, who is our Spanish interpreter. Mr. Brommuller, if you will come up to the podium and just let people know that for our resolutions on public hearing, you're here to assist if necessary.
Good afternoon. My name is Javier Lynch, Spanish interpreter. Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Javier Lynch. Soy intérprete español.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. We are now ready for resolutions on public hearing. Information together. All right, we have 2 that are up tonight. So the way this works is that I'm going to call up the resolutions one at a time, refer to the sponsor, unless the sponsor moves to defer the public hearing. Sponsor will call for a public hearing, then ask for a show of hands for those who are here in favor of the resolution. Then I'll ask for a show of hands of those who are here in opposition to the resolution. If anyone in favor of the measure wishes to speak, I'll ask you to come forward, find the microphone in the back, introduce yourself, give us your address, and then you'll have 2 minutes in which to speak. I will then ask if anyone opposed wishes to speak as well. After that process, I'll close the public hearing and refer back to the sponsor. We are ready for the first measure. It's item number 1. It's on page 3, RS 2022-1805 by Councilmember Parker. It's a resolution exempting 808 Vi Place from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a short-term rental property. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized on your resolution.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I've got one committee report, and I have that one here.
Okay.
Government Operations recommended approval, 5-4 and 0 against.
All right. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized.
And I would like to open the public hearing.
Okay, declare the public hearing open. Could I see a show of hands of those who are here in favor of this resolution? A show of hands of those who are here in opposition to this resolution. Councilmember Parker, I didn't see any hands either way, I don't think. All right. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for approval with a brief comment.
All right. So I got a proper motion, properly seconded. Back to you.
Just so folks know, this is the Vibe Place townhome development next to the Grimes location in East Nashville and East Trinity Lane. The reason I'm okay with supporting this today is this is a development that was constructed for the purpose of being short-term rentals. These have largely been operating as short-term rentals, and so some legislation we passed in recent years causes folks to have to come before this body and get an exception when they renew those permits. And, because the building is already pretty much STR, I'm comfortable with allowing them to renew their permit in this case.
All right, so Councilmember Parker has moved to approve RS 2022-1805 for passage. It's been properly seconded. Any questions or discussions on the resolution? Seeing none, ready to vote. All those in favor of 1805 for passage, say aye. Opposed, no. 1805 passes. Thank you, Councilmember Parker. Next one is by Councilmember Withers. It's RS 2022-1806. It's a resolution exempting Jane's Hideaway, located at 407 Gallatin Avenue, from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a beer permit. Councilmember Withers, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Could I get committee reports, please?
You certainly can. Councilmember Parker, Government Operations.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Government Operations considered 1806, recommended approval 5-4 and 0 against.
Okay, thank you. Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Jane's Hideaway.
Hideaway, yes. I'd like to open the public hearing, please.
All right, declare the public hearing open on Jane's Hideaway. I thought we shouldn't tell you where Jane's Hideaway is, but it says 407 Gallatin Avenue. I'm going to open up the public hearing. Those in favor, please raise your hand. See one hand up. Anybody in opposition, if you would please raise your hand. I see no hands up in opposition. Those in favor wish to speak? All right. Declare the public hearing closed. Councilmember Withers, you're on RS 2022-1806.
Thank you so much, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval with a brief comment.
All right. So I got a proper motion, proper second. Back to you.
So the location where Jane's Hideaway is hiding is next door to East Nashville Staple Dino's. So if folks know where that is, that Next door is Jane's Hideaway. One of the things, delighted to have a new business on the Gallatin corridor, especially delighted to have a venue that, business that serves as a live music venue as well. So please come check them out sometime for the music acts as well as for their food and beverage. So with that, I renew my motion to approve.
All right, Councilmember Withers has renewed his motion. It was properly seconded. Any discussion on Jane's Hideaway? Seeing none, ready to vote. We're on RS 2022-1806. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Resolution is adopted. All right, that takes us through resolutions on public hearing. We are now on consent resolutions and resolutions. I'm going to go through the resolutions that are on the consent agenda. 1689, item number 3, is on the consent agenda. 1807 is on consent. 1808 is on consent. 1809 is on consent. 1810 is on consent. 1811 on consent. 1812 is on consent. 1813 is on consent. 1814 is on consent. 1815 is on consent. 1816 is on consent. 1817 is on consent. 1818 on consent. 1819 is on consent. 1820 is on consent. 1821 is on consent. 1822 is on consent. 1823 is on consent. Every item is on the consent calendar. Anything needs to be bumped off? I knew there would be a hand up. I'm keeping my head down. I don't see Councilmember Hurt with her hand up. Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized.
1808.
Okay, 1808 comes off of consent. That's item number 5. Anything else? Councilmember Henderson?
1823, please, Vice Mayor.
1823 comes off. Councilmember Gamble?
1820.
1820 comes off. I'm looking there. I was waiting. I was trying to figure out who had their hand up. Councilmember Murphy, you're recognized.
Council Lady Stiles would like 1821 taken off consent.
Okay. All right. Anyone else? We were doing so well, too. All right. I'm going to read through the items on the consent agenda, and then I'll go back for committee reports. First item up is item number 3, RS 2022-1689, by Council Members O'Connell and Hancock. It's a resolution exempting 11 Music Square East, number 104, from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a short-term rental property. Item number 4, RS 2022-1807, by Roten, Syracuse, and others. This is a resolution accepting a detection and mitigation of COVID-19 in confinement facilities grant from the Tennessee Department of Health to the Metropolitan Government through the Sheriff's Office to enhance and improve the practices of confinement facilities to mitigate the spread of COVID-19. Item number 6, RS 2022-1809, by House of Roten and others. Resolution accepting a donation from local Nashville Hayes LLC to the Metropolitan Government through the Housing Trust Fund Commission to bring more affordable housing to Nashville. Item 7, Roten and Parker, RS 2022-1810. Resolution approving an intergovernmental license agreement by and between the state of Tennessee, Department of Transportation, and Metro Government for the sharing of fiber optic cable assets for network communications. RS 2022-1811, by Roten, Syracuse, and others. Resolution accepting the Healthy Start Initiative, eliminating racial ethnic disparities grant, and approving Amendment 1 to a grant from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services to the Metropolitan Government through the Board of Health to provide a variety of services reducing infant mortality for pregnant and parenting women. RS 2022-1812, by Roten and Welsh and others. Resolution approving a continuum of care program grant agreement between the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and Metro Social Services to contribute to the national effort to end homelessness.
Item number 10, RS 2022-1813 by Councilmembers Roten, Welsh, and others. Resolution approving a continuum of care program grant agreement between the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development and Metro Social Services to fund support services and administrative costs and contributing to the national effort to end homelessness. RS 2022-1814. Roten and Syracuse, a resolution accepting a grant from the Tennessee Department of Safety and Homeland Security to the Metropolitan Government through the Nashville Police Department to continue the enhanced DUI enforcement initiative and target distracted driving and seatbelt enforcement. RS 2022-1815, Roten, Syracuse, and Welsh. Resolution accepting an anti-terrorism emergency assistance program grant from the Tennessee Department of Finance Administration to the Metropolitan Government through OEM to support victims of mass violence and terrorism. Item number 13, RS 2022-1816, Roten, Withers, and others. Resolution approving a proposal by and between the State of Tennessee Department of Transportation and the Metropolitan Government through the Nashville Department of Transportation for the acceptance of a construction easement and the maintenance of traffic control devices in connection with construction of a bridge replacement on State Route 1 over 11th Avenue South and CSX Railroad. RS 2022-1817, Roten, Pulliam, and Withers. Resolution accepting a Safer Streets Nashville Pedestrian and Bicycle Safety Awareness Grant from the Tennessee Department of Highway Safety Office to the Metropolitan Government through NDOT and the multimodal infrastructure to educate the public on pedestrian and bicycle safety awareness. Item number 15, RS 2022-1818, Roten, Pulliam, and others. Resolution approving an application for a Bridge Investment Program grant from the Tennessee Department of Transportation to the Metropolitan Government through NDOT to replace two bridges over CSX active rail lines within the right-of-way in the Madison and East Nashville neighborhoods. RS 2022-1819, Roten, Pulliam, and others. Resolution approving an application for a Safe Streets for All grant from the U.S. Department of Transportation to the Metropolitan Government through NDOT to construct safety improvements for those walking, bicycling, or using transit along Nolensville Pike between McCall Street and Haywood Lane. And item number 19, RS 2022-1822, by Councilmember Sledge, a resolution recognizing the 200th anniversary of the Nashville City Cemetery. Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm so sorry. Because this was on previous hearing at a prior meeting, I forgot to pull item 3, RS 2022-1689.
Okay, so item number 3, RS 2022-1689 is pulled off of consent. Okay. All right. Anything else that I missed? All right. We are ready now for committee reports. All right, Affordable Housing, Councilmember Hauser, you're first. You had one, RS 2022-1809.
That is correct. We voted approved 8, against 0.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Roten, Budget and Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted 14 in favor, 0 against for RS 2022-1807, 1809, 1810, 1811, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Parker, Government Operations had one.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We had Resolution 2022-1810. We recommended 5 in favor and 0 against.
All right, Councilmember Druffel, Human Services.
Yeah, thanks, Chair. We had 1812 and 1813. We were 5 for and 0 against for both.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Withers, Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning met and considered Resolution RS 2022-1816 and recommended approval, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Syracuse, Public Health.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Public Health and Safety considered 1807, 1811, 1814, and 1815. Passed 7-4, 0 against.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Murphy, Rules.
Thank you. Resolution 1820, Resolution 1821, Resolution 1822, 1823, all 6 in favor, 0 against, except for whatever we took off of consent.
All right, thank you. That's a good way to cover it. Councilmember Pulley, Transportation.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Transportation recommended approval of RS 2022-1816 through 1819, 10 in favor and 0 against, and I move approval of the consent agenda.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Pulley. Councilmember Pulley has moved approval of the consent resolution agenda, properly seconded. Any discussion on the motion?
Seeing none, everybody ready to vote? All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Consent agenda for resolutions passes. All right, we're going to go back now to items that are not on the consent agenda. RS 2022-1689 by Councilmember O'Connell and Hancock. That's a resolution exempting 11 Music Square East, number 104, from the minimum distance requirements for obtaining a short-term rental property. Councilmember O'Connell, you're recognized on your resolution.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move for a 2-meeting deferral with a brief comment.
All right, Councilmember O'Connell, we checked that today. This would be the third deferral. So you can move to defer, but it would be, I think, considered deferred indefinitely.
I wasn't sure if that would apply to resolutions, but we need to do that, and I'll still make a comment when we get to the deferral.
All right, we're double checking, but we believe that's right. So it's the third deferral?
Indefinitely upon the third.
Okay, we double checked, so it'll be an indefinite deferral, and then you can put it back on. So you can defer indefinitely, you can defer for 2 minutes. It's treated the same way.
I will move to defer indefinitely then.
Okay, so the motion is to defer indefinitely, properly seconded. Back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. Well, on this one, we did have a pretty intense community discussion with residents of Spence Manor, the property in question, and we have not yet held the broader community meeting to allow permit holders and residents to discuss pros and cons of this measure together. I do intend to follow through with that piece, and if the result of that meeting suggests that it would be a good idea for this waiver to proceed, then I will do so, and if not, then we might not see it again, but we will proceed with that meeting. Thank you.
All right, so the motion is to defer indefinitely. It was properly seconded. Any discussion on the resolution? Seeing none, ready to vote. All those in favor of the motion to defer indefinitely say aye. Opposed, no. That one's deferred indefinitely. All right, we are now on item number 5, RS 2022-1808 by Councilmember Roten. It's a resolution authorizing the Metropolitan Department of Law to compromise and settle Seth Taylor's claim against Sergeant James LeMaster of the Davidson County Sheriff's Office in the amount of $50,000. Councilmember Roten, you're recognized on the resolution.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Budget and Finance Committee, committee reports, but it's only me, I think. Budget and Finance voted 14 in favor, 0 against. For 1808.
All right, and move for approval.
Move approval.
Okay, so Councilmember Roten has moved approval of RS 2022-1808, properly seconded. Councilmember Hurt, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. I was just reviewing the analysis, and I wasn't sure how the legal department came to the conclusion, and just wanted to know what justification or rationale that they used in order to make the recommendation. We see so many of these lawsuits, and I'm not sure, and don't know what kind of money it is in comparison to what's in the insurance, but just wanted to get some clarification.
All right, Metro Legal is here.
So our office is defending this case. There were several DCSO correctional officers that were named in the original lawsuit. Through the course of the litigation, all claims and defendants have been dismissed, except for this claim against this officer, and we recommend settling the case for $50,000.
Councilmember Hart.
But why? From the analysis, it didn't seem as if the officer had been out of order, other than the fact that it was an old tactic that had been used before. Is that the reason why that you all decided to settle and at that particular amount? Because apparently the victim, alleged victim, was uncooperative. So I was just wondering the rationale.
So there was a neck restraint that was involved that was approved at the time, but I believe is not approved now. So I think that came into the analysis of the litigators in our office when they were working on this case.
All right. Anybody else on this? All right, seeing none, we've had a proper motion from Councilmember Roten, and it was properly seconded. We're ready to vote. All those in favor of RS 2022-1808 for passage, say aye. Opposed, no. The resolution passes. All right. Next item up that is not on consent is item number 17, RS 2022-1820. Gamble, Murphy, Johnston, and others. It's a resolution honoring Senator Brenda Gilmore's retirement from the Tennessee State Legislature. Councilmember Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Councilmember Murphy, rules.
6 in favor, 0 against.
Councilmember Gamble.
Thank you. This resolution recognizes the many years of exemplary service from Senator Brenda Gilmore to our city and state. And I wanted to offer an opportunity. There are quite a few. I want to thank all of the co-sponsors that have signed on to the bill, and want to ask that if any, upon approval, all those voting in the affirmative be added as a co-sponsor as well, and wanted to let you all know that we are scheduling a presentation of this resolution at the November 15th meeting.
Okay. Without objection, everybody voting in the affirmative will be listed as a sponsor. I've got a motion to approve from Councilmember Gamble, properly seconded. Councilmember Suara, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Because it's Senator Gilmore, I wanted to rise in support of the resolution. Senator Gilmore, in addition to serving the city, has been a mentor to a lot of young elected officials, including myself. And she also graciously served as the chair of the John Lewis Way March for the last 2 years. She helped put those two events together. And so very selfless, very giving, and very deserving of this resolution. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Porterfield.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I also wanted to just stand in support and just thank Senator Gilmore for her service. And my apologies, I did missubmitted my name to be a co-sponsor. So thank you, Councilmember Gamble, for lifting up the Murphy Law so that we all can be co-sponsors. But again, just wanted to thank Senator Gilmore for all of her service, from being a council member to serving at a state level. I mean, she has just been the epitome of grace and just has been a wonderful, wonderful public servant, and just wanted to lift that up and thank her for her service.
All right, thank you. Councilmember Porterfield. Anybody else on the resolution honoring Senator Gilmore? Oh, Councilmember Hurt.
Well, I would like to stand, considering that she is a great woman of Delta Sigma Theta Sorority Incorporated, and all of these wonderful comments and accolades that are so duly deserving of her. I certainly appreciate them on her behalf. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Councilmember Hurt. Anybody else? All right, seeing none, everybody voting in the affirmative will be listed as a sponsor of this one. We're voting on RS 2022-1820. All those in favor of the resolution say aye. Opposed, no. Resolution passes. We are on RS 2022-1821 by Murphy, Stiles, Johnston, and others. This is a resolution honoring the 25th anniversary of Thistle Farms. Councilmember Murphy, you're recognized.
Thank you. The Rules Committee voted 6 in favor, 0 against, and I would like to invoke my own rule and have everyone voting in the affirmative signed on to this. If you're not familiar with Thistle Farms, which I cannot imagine, you must be living under a rock in Nashville. They have done tremendous things, and they are, I'm very blessed that they are located in my district, and we will be having them here to present this resolution, and so you can learn more about them. But between now and then, or between now and the holidays, please stop by their location on Charlotte and do your Christmas shop. Am I allowed to make that plug here? If not, I just did. And with that, I'd like to move approval and renew my motion for my own rule that everybody signed on voting in the affirmative.
All right, so Councilmember Murphy has moved approval of RS 2022-1821 for passage. Properly seconded. Everybody voting in the affirmative will be listed as a sponsor. Councilmember Murphy, have you ever had their little raspberry fish gummies that are they sell?
I think that goes without asking.
Okay. All right. They're very good. Anybody else on this one? We're on RS 2022-1821 for passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Resolution passes. Everybody voting in the affirmative will be listed as a sponsor. And then RS 2022-1823 by Councilmember Henderson, Young, Stiles, and others. It's a resolution recognizing October 2022 as Breast Cancer Awareness Month. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
Councilmember Murphy, rules.
6 in favor, 0 against.
All right, Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would move approval with just a brief explanation of this resolution, colleagues. It's bringing attention to Breast Cancer Awareness Month. I rise as a survivor myself of breast cancer. Sadly, 1 in 8 women will be diagnosed with breast cancer in their lifetime. Just this year, 280,000 women will be diagnosed, and 43,000 of those women will pass away from this disease. Breast cancer is only 5 to 10% of breast cancers are hereditary. Many people who are diagnosed with breast cancer never had the dreaded lump. They just detected their cancer from mammography, which is now recommended annually starting at age 45. So I would encourage members of the community and members of this body, please encourage the women in your life to stick with their annual mammography. If they are behind, do not let them wait until next year. Truly, do not let them wait. Go as soon as you can. And so I want to thank the members of the Women's Caucus, Councilman Young. So many people in this body have been touched by breast cancer, whether that diagnosis came to themselves, a family member, a friend. And for that reason, we wanted to pull this off consent just to bring that attention. And thank you, Vice Mayor. I renew my motion for approval.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has moved passage of Resolution RS 2022-1823, properly seconded. Councilmember Nash, you're recognized.
As a person with a sister who survived breast cancer, I'd also like to be added as a sponsor, please.
All right. Councilmember Henderson, you want everybody listed? All right. So everybody voting in the affirmative will also be listed as a sponsor without objection. All right. Any other questions, comments? Ready to vote? We're on RS 2022-1823 for passage. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Resolution passes. We have one late file resolution by Councilmember Cash and others, Councilmember Cash, Evans, Porterfield, Sepulveda, and others. This is a resolution urging Nashville registered voters to vote no on Tennessee Constitutional Amendment number 1 in the upcoming November state and federal elections. Councilmember Cash, you are recognized on your late file resolution.
Thank you. I believe I need a report from the Rules Committee.
That's correct. Councilmember Murphy, you're recognized.
Thank you. We agree that there is an emergency reason here and support the late filing.
All right. So there was no objection to, okay. So Councilmember Cash, you'll need to suspend the rules.
I'd like to suspend the rules.
All right. So Councilmember Cash has moved to suspend the rules to get this resolution before us tonight. Is there any objection to suspension of the rules? I see none. Rules are suspended. Councilmember Cash, you're on your resolution.
I thank members. So this resolution encourages Nashville voters to vote no on Tennessee Constitutional Amendment 1, which enshrines right-to-work laws into our state constitution. Tennessee is already a right-to-work state, and this change on one hand is unnecessary, on the other hand is harmful to future generations of workers in our state. Right-to-work states are shown to have lower wages, higher poverty rates, and more workplace deaths, among many other things, some of which are in the whereases of the resolution. This council has worked hard this term on affordability issues, and I'm sure we will continue to. Part of the solution is higher wages for our Nashvillians. To pass this constitutional amendment and take this tool that could strengthen our unions, take this tool off the table, makes that affordability work harder. For us to stay silent is not in our workers' best interests. It's not in the best interest of our work on affordability, and we should go on record asking voters in Nashville to vote no on State Constitutional Amendment 1. So I encourage you to vote yes to the resolution about no on 1. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Cash. Again, the motion is to approve. It's been properly seconded. Councilmember Lee, you're recognized.
Thank you, sir. I just want to stand in support of this as well. The previous councilman did a great job of saying why we need this. It's absurd in a state where you already can work and you don't have to join unions and you don't have to do these type of things. It makes you question, why is this? His bill is a great bill. I stand to say very loudly, I support voting no to this amendment, but yes to his bill.
All right.
Just in case you were confused.
I'll clarify that in just a minute. Councilmember Saguaro.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'd just like to be added as a sponsor of the bill and
Okay, we
in
can do
support.
that. All right. Anybody else on the resolution? All right, just to clarify, to make sure everybody's clear, Councilmember Cash is pushing a resolution to basically say that the Metro Council encourages people to vote no on constitutional amendment number 1 that is on the ballot on November 8th. So if you're for that, you're going to be voting yes on this resolution, correct? Oh, okay. All right, we're ready to vote on Councilmember Cash's resolution. All those in favor of the resolution say aye. Opposed, no. Resolution is adopted. Councilmember Johnston. Councilmember Pulley abstaining. Councilmember Druffel. Abstaining. Councilmember Hancock. Abstaining. Anybody? If anybody votes no, then I got to go on the board. But I've got 4 abstentions on this. Anybody else? I've got Councilmember Hancock, Councilmember Johnston, Councilmember Pulley, and Councilmember Druffel. Anybody else abstention? Anybody a no? Okay. Resolution is adopted. All right. Thank you. All right. Before we go on, I would like to recognize both Councilmember Vercher and Porterfield. For they want to be recognized to recognize Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Councilmember Porterfield and Vercher.
Thank you so very much, Vice Mayor. I just wanted to stand up and acknowledge that this is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Domestic Violence Awareness Month was launched nationwide October 1987 as a way to connect and unite individuals and organizations working on domestic violence issues while raising awareness for those issues. To just give some statistics, in the state of Tennessee, 39.6% of Tennessee women and 36.8% of Tennessee men experience intimate partner physical violence, intimate partner rape, and or intimate partner stalking in their lifetime. 1 in 3 women and 1 in 4 men in the United States have experienced some form of physical violence by an intimate partner. 90 Tennesseans were murdered in domestic violence incidents in 2020. Firearms were used in approximately 60% of these homicides. It is a very tough topic to talk about. As a survivor of domestic violence, as a person who grew up in a home with domestic violence, it is something that is very hard to discuss, but it is something that we have to speak up against and speak out against and support the network and the community of survivors. And with that, I just wanted to take a moment and acknowledge that this is a very important month. I am wearing a pin today that says love shouldn't hurt. And if you know someone who is currently in a domestic violence situation, just making sure that we lift up support and making sure that people understand the resources that are available to them. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Porterfield. Councilmember Vercher.
Thank you so much, Vice Mayor. My colleague to my right articulated the awareness very, very well. I just want to state that over the last 30 years, we've made much progress to support domestic violence victims and survivors, to hold abusers accountable, and to create and update legislation to further those goals. It is incumbent upon all of us as legislators to make sure that for issues such as this, that we continue to be the advocates for those that's most vulnerable. Recognize the signs. Ask a woman, ask a child in the event they're dealing with such a circumstance as this. Really, at the end of the day, just love one another. We are resilient. We, being women, we are resilient. But like my colleague stated, love should not hurt. This is Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So if you know anyone that may have gone through a circumstance such as domestic violence, just give them extra grace and give them a hug and let them know that you see them and not the violence that they've overcame. So thank you so much, Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember Furcher. All right, we are now on bills on introduction and first reading. Anything needs to be coming off of bills on introduction and first reading. Councilmember Syracuse, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. BL 22, 1509, item 26. Thank you.
All right, item 26 is going to be pulled. Councilmember Toombs.
Number 25.
And 25. 25 and 26 are going to be pulled from introduction, first reading on for bills on first reading. Anybody else? Anything else needs to be pulled? With the exception of those two bills, then I'll take a motion to pass all bills on introduction and first reading at one time. Got a motion properly seconded. This is to pass all bills on introduction and first reading with the exception of items number 25 and 26. Motion properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none. All those in favor of the motion to pass all bills on introduction and first reading say aye. Opposed, no. Everything is passed. With the exception of items 25 and 26, we'll take those separately. I've got BL 2022-1508 by Councilmember Toombs. It's an ordinance amending section 17.08.030, 17.16.030, and 17.16.160 of the Metropolitan Code zoning regulations to change the multifamily use in the IWD, Industrial Warehousing Distribution, IR, Industrial Restrictive Zoning District from being permitted with conditions to requiring a special exception. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move approval and defer the public hearing to the first meeting in February.
Okay, you've heard the motion, so you're going to pass it on first, and then public hearing will be the first meeting in February. Properly seconded. Any discussion on that motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Motion is adopted. Councilmember Syracuse, I think you're going to make the same motion.
Yes, Vice Mayor. Can I move approval and defer to the public hearing to the first meeting in February?
All right, so you've heard the motion. It's the same as Councilmember Toombs' motion, properly seconded. Any discussion on the motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. That motion is adopted as well. And we have one late filed bill on first reading. It's by Councilmember Allen. It is in your packet. Councilmember Allen, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I think I need a report from Rules.
You do. Councilmember Murphy. This is on the late filed ordinance.
Yes, and we were okay with her late filed reasoning, 6 in favor, 0 against.
Okay. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you. I think, do I need to suspend the rules?
Yep.
I need to ask for a suspension of the rules.
All right. So Councilmember Allen has moved to suspend the rules to get this late filed ordinance on the calendar for purposes of first reading. Any objections to suspension of the rules? Seeing none, rules are suspended. You're on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. This is just an ordinance to clarify an ordinance that we just passed at the last meeting that creates a commission to look at tax abatements that we, as a council, vote for to come up with guidelines for a policy that would at least have the discussion of how much of our budget do we think is appropriate to divert from the general fund for worthy causes. So that's a committee we've talked about putting together for quite some time. We finally got the legislation passed, and it calls for within 30 days creating that committee. The intention was to allow at least one council member to serve on that, but because of language in the charter it's possible that that's not necessarily consistent with the charter. So just to clarify that that possibility should be there, that's what this bill does. So with that, I would ask for approval.
All right, so Councilmember Allen has moved for approval to pass on first reading this late filed ordinance, properly seconded. Any discussion from council? Seeing none, this is just to pass the bill on first reading. All those in favor of the motion to pass on first reading say aye. Opposed, no. The bill passes on first reading. All right, we are now on bills on second reading. I'm going to go through the consent agenda for second reading. We have 5 bills on that calendar. Item number 49, BL 2022-1470 is on consent. 1474 is on consent. That's item number 50. BL 2022-1476, item number 52 is on consent. Item number 53, BL 2022-1477 is on consent. And BL 2022-1478 is on consent. Any of those 5 need to come off of the consent calendar. This is second reading consent. Seeing none, I'm going to go through those 5 bills. First one up is item number 49, BL 2022-1470 by Councilmember Pulley. Ordinance amending section 13.08.080 of the Metropolitan Code, authorize the use of data collection video technology solely for the purpose of traffic monitoring and management by the Metropolitan Department of Information Technology Services and NDOT. Item number 50, BL 2022-1474 by Roten, Benedict, and Gamble. Ordinance approving a contract between the Metropolitan Government and Granicus LLC to provide services, maintenance, and licensing related to various platforms, including but not limited to the government meeting, short-term rental monitoring, communications cloud, and web streaming services for Metro-wide internal and external use. Item number 52, BL 2022-1476 by Councilmember Murphy. Ordinance readopting the Code of the Metropolitan Government prepared by Municipal Code Corporation, including supplemental and replacement pages thereof, containing certain ordinances of a general and permanent nature enacted on or before May 18, 2022. Item number 53, BL 2022-1477, Evans, Withers, and Pulley, an ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County to accept a public fire hydrant assembly for property located at 3887 Central Pike. And item number 54, BL 2022-1478, O'Connell, Withers, and Pulley. This is an ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept a public fire hydrant assembly for property located at 245B Hermitage Avenue. Those are the 5 bills on second reading consent. Anything needs to be pulled off of the second reading consent calendar. Seeing none, I need a couple of committee reports. Budget and Finance, Councilmember Roten, you've got one of those.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Bill 2022-1474, Budget and Finance voted 14 in favor, 0 against.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Parker. Government Operations, you've got 2.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. 1470 on consent, yeah, we recommended 5 for and 0 against on 1470.
And 1474.
Thank you. Yes, we recommended 5 for and 0 against on that one as well.
All right, Councilmember Withers, you've got 2.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning met and considered ordinances BL 2022-1477 and 1478. We recommended approval of both of those, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right, Councilmember Murphy, rules.
6 in favor, 0 against.
All right, thank you. And the last report is Councilmember Pulley, Transportation.
Thank you. Transportation recommended approval of our BL 2022-1470, 11 in favor, 0 against, and 1477 and 1478, 10 in favor and 0 against. And I would move approval of the consent agenda.
All right, Councilmember Pulley has moved approval of the second reading consent agenda, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. Second reading consent agenda is passed. Okay, we go back to item number 44. This is BL 2022-1381. It's on page 15 on my calendar. Item 44, it's an ordinance amending Chapter 5.04 of the Metropolitan Codes requiring payments in lieu of taxes made by the Convention Center Authority to be dedicated to affordable housing initiatives. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. We've got a substitute or amendment here. Is it appropriate for me to go ahead and move that?
Why don't we get the committee reports first, and then we'll take the
committee reports, please.
Budget and Finance, Councilmember Roten.
I
apologize. What bill is this?
Item 44, it's Bill 2022-1381. It's the first bill on second reading.
I don't have a committee report for that one. I apologize.
Okay. We're checking on
If it's on consent, it's be 14-0, but I don't see it that I had it.
This one is actually not on consent. That's why we're checking.
Is that the one that was 12, 11, 2, and 1? Look, I'm getting some shaking of the head, so that's probably that bill. I apologize.
That's a good way to determine it.
Thank you.
All right, so it looks like 11, 4, 2 against, and 1 abstention. Okay, thank you. Okay, 11, 2, and 1. All right, and affordable housing, Councilmember Hauser.
The Affordable Housing Committee approves the bill as substituted, except for 1 against.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councilmember Parker, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And now I've got this, I feel like I'm going to sneeze, so forgive me if I get interrupted.
Well, you can sneeze, and you're going that way.
I want to be standing here watching me try to sneeze for a minute. I appreciate the indulgence. So it's gone now. So this bill, there was some concerns brought up by the Housing Division folks, as well as council members, and it's my understanding that the substitute that I'm about to move was worked on by the Housing Division folks and the council members who had brought up concerns. So with that, I will go ahead and move the substitute that's in the packet.
Okay, so Councilmember Parker is moving the substitute. This is the one that Councilmember Allen is also on, correct? Okay.
Councilmember Sledge, yes.
Oh, Councilmember Sledge. Both of you are on it. Okay, but Councilmember Parker is moving that substitute, properly seconded. Back to you for an explanation of the substitute.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. And I'll allow the sponsors to speak if they'd like, but the most important thing this does in my mind is it allows expands the definition of what this stuff can be used for. This funding can be used for, from strictly affordable to affordable and workforce. Many of the Barnes Funds projects that we fund are actually include workforce units or are workforce units with no affordable. I think the delineation there is workforce is 80% AMI and above, whereas the affordable is 60% and below. I could be wrong about that exactly, but I think it's an important change to make, so I'm in support of the substitute.
All right, so Councilmember Parker is moving the substitute, again, properly seconded. Councilmember Allen on the substitute.
And I will just clarify, the other thing that it did was it also added the possibility to allow $500,000 of this to go to the Housing Incentive Pilot Program, and spelled out that those are the two uses unless the council decides to change it. So there had been some concern about being too open-ended, so now it's very specific, and the vast majority of it is dedicated to the Barnes Fund.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Sledge, any comments on this one? Okay, good to go. All right, so where we are now is Councilmember Parker has moved to substitute on Bill 2022-1381. The bill's on second reading, but Councilmember Parker has moved the substitute, properly seconded. Councilmember Nash, you're recognized.
Yeah, I guess I have a question about how much money are we talking about on any given year?
I believe it's 14.5. 14.3 million is the pilot negotiated with Convention Authority.
Okay. And I guess for the administration, gosh, I remember an orientation I had when first elected, and at the time there's a lot of discussion about the convention center's surplus, and I guess that probably eats into that surplus a little bit, which may be okay. At the same time, when COVID hit, there was a discussion at that time, well, things go up, things come down. And during COVID, that surplus was used a lot by the city to keep us afloat. I just want to make sure we're not digging too deep. The administration have an opinion on that?
Mr. Jameson?
So
2 years ago, when the original request was made to the Convention Center Authority for directing what would be the equivalent of their property tax payments, the total was a little over $12 million. And that continued contribution hinges on the Convention Center earning sufficient revenues to cover their expenses. They have done that and much more so in recent years and are on track to improve their numbers. We're currently at 14.3. We anticipate the appraisal next time will be significantly higher than that, and that'll incur additional revenue for this fund.
Great, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, council member. Anybody else? We're on the substitute. Seeing none, we're ready to vote. We're on Councilmember Parker's motion to approve the substitute. All those in favor of the substitute say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Substitute's on. Councilmember Parker, you're on your bill as substituted.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'll move for approval.
Councilmember Parker has moved for approval of BL 2022-1381 as substituted on second reading, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the bill on second reading, 1381 as substituted, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. So I've got at least one no. Anybody else no on this one? Councilor Mendez is a no. Councilmember Vercher is a no. Anybody else? All right, the motion passes on second reading. All right, we're now on item number 45, BL 2022-1384. This is an ordinance amending section 12.12.190 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws relative to traffic calming projects. Councilman Rosenberg, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Just to reset, this bill was on second reading a couple meetings ago. Passed committee unanimously, I think, passed on to third reading, and then made a motion to rescind back to second reading for the purposes of making it amendable again. The bill itself creates, says that each council district will get 1% of traffic calming projects, and says that lays out a process for private developers to pay for traffic calming projects. I'd like to move the amendment, please, in the packet.
All right, so I guess the right thing to do would be to, what you're going to do is you're going to move your bill on second reading again, right?
Okay, I'd like to move the bill, please.
So we've got 1384. The motion is to approve on second reading, properly seconded. Now, Councilman Rosenberg is moving amendment number 1. Properly seconded, back to you.
Thank you, Mr. President. So the first amendment, I think there was some concern about each council district getting 1% of traffic calming projects. So this changes it to 2/3 of 1%. Basically says that a council district will not go 3 full years without getting a single project. It would probably affect 3-4 districts over the course of that timeline. So will not have a real impact on anybody's projects, but just ensures that none of our constituents is completely ignored. So I ask for your approval of the amendment, which changes it from 1 project per council district every 2 years to at least 1 every 3 years.
All right, so you've heard an explanation of the amendment. Questions on the amendment? All right, ready to vote? We're on Councilmember Rosenberg's amendment number 1. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. So I've got a couple of no's, but the amendment passes. All right, so we're now on, this is now BL 2022-1384 as amended by amendment number 1. We have an amendment number 2, which is sponsored by Councilmember Toombs. Councilmember Toombs? You're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. So if amendment number 2 passes, does that circumvent or supersede amendment number 1?
I believe so, but just to be on the safe side, we discussed this. Director Darby, you recognized.
It would supersede amendment 1. It's the exact same section that's being amended.
Okay, so we had a specially called meeting for this bill, and there's been a lot of discussion about what impact this bill, particularly the provision that would ensure that no district goes either 2 years or 3 years without getting a traffic calming project. And I understand that if you're in a district that hasn't gotten any projects, that is frustrating. And this bill seeks equality where everybody is getting the same thing. However, I think we should be focusing on equity, where you distribute the resources where they are most needed. And during that specially called meeting, Director Alarcon stated that in order to comply with this bill so that, no district is left out, within a certain time period, a district with greater need or street or neighborhood with greater need could get bumped off the list in order to accommodate this bill. So again, equity should be the focus, not equality. I think that we should put our resources where they are most needed, and so I think that this portion of the bill should be taken out completely, and I'd ask for approval.
Okay, so Councilmember Toombs has moved approval of amendment number 2, properly seconded. So I'm going to go through the list. Councilmember Young, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. The traffic calming program has been in place for a lot of years, several years, I don't know, several years. And my district has turned in a total of 1 application, and that was this current calendar year. I think it does not make sense for us to allocate resources based on arbitrary lines that are based on populations, rather than focusing resources in a objective and methodical way as to where the need is. I am shooting myself in the foot, or shooting my district in the foot, by supporting this amendment, because in theory I could guarantee that the 1 or 2 applications filed every 5 or 6 years would always get funded in my district. However, those dollars are best used in places where they're needed the most. So I being at the special called meeting and even hearing from the director that, the director and the department are going to carry out what this council puts in place. However, I think it was made clear that resources should be allocated where they are most needed, and that is following an objective scoring process that's in place currently. Folks in my district might not like me saying this, but I think it is what is most fair and most deserving of everyone else in the county. So I just put that out there as someone who would benefit from this, that I'm actually, or would benefit from the once every 2 years or once every 3 years. But I do think it's best that we put the money where the need is most, because the need might not be most in my district. When there's, why take money away from one area where there's a lot of dangerous traffic going on when, I made my point. Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I signed on to be a co-sponsor of Councilman Rosenberg's bill because I feel like there's a pretty significant disconnect between metro planning and NDOT. As you look at the more suburban communities where we are required to create connection points across every new subdivision that is constructed, essentially we are setting ourselves up for future more serious issues related to traffic calming. I had mentioned early on that I had one of the projects that was unable to move forward based on a subdivision component where the developer wanted to move forward with adding traffic calming measures, but it was denied by NDOT, and this was at the developer's expense. So I'm not looking for equality, I'm really looking for one in this allocation of time that Councilman Rosenberg is proposing, simply because as we look forward into the future, we will have subdivisions that are continuously going to be behind as a result and creating dangerous situations. There already exist dangerous situations in suburban communities, but because of forced connectivity, we are creating more traffic issues. I've had one neighborhood where a dog was hit and killed, which you may think it's just a dog, but it created a lot of challenges in that particular neighborhood. And so I want to reiterate that it kind of defeats the purpose of the traffic calming proposals and marketing this effort, because residents lose hope that it's ever going to be available to them. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm not looking to take away from other communities, but I'm looking for, could we just have a glimmer of hope that one day these districts, will be funded, maybe to include one to get other residents encouraged to apply. Thank you.
Thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Rosenberg.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move this amendment to the table.
All right, so Councilmember Rosenberg has moved the motion. This is the motion to put on amendment number 2 to the table. So that will be debated between Councilmember Rosenberg and Councilmember Toombs. Councilmember Rosenberg, you're up first.
Thank you, Mr. President. 2 points. Number one, these things are not allocated using objective criteria. They're prioritized using a formula that anybody can argue with or change to get the results that they want. I'm not saying that the formula was created to get a certain result. Simply that saying just because number 24 is above number 25 doesn't mean it's a more worthy project, or that it's going to have a higher impact for residents who are looking to share in some of this program that we as a city collectively fund. Number 2, this does not create any sort of equality. It asks for 1 out of 150 projects to be in a district. 1 out of 150. 5 or 6 would be equality. That's not what this goal, because I agree that that should not be the goal. It simply asks that 1 project out of every 150 approximately be allocated to the constituents of an area who are seeing a very real problem on their streets that whoever's scoring these might not see as just a hair worthy enough to make the list. It's not taking away projects from people's districts. The odds that that 1 project is in any one of your districts is very, very slim. All we're trying to do is ensure that everybody can take advantage of this program in some small way, and I ask you to support the table motion. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. If the criteria is not objective, then change the criteria. According to Director Alarcon and her staff during the specially called meeting, the criteria is objective. They use it for every single application, and they rank those applications. In order to implement this provision of this bill would require them to bump streets and neighborhoods with greater need. That creates inequity. This bill is about equality in that it gives everyone the same thing. Every district would receive at least 1 project every 3 years. That is the very definition of equality. My point is that it's creating inequities and that it's taking away resources from areas that need it the most. And based off those reasons, I would ask that my colleagues to defeat the tabling motion.
Okay, so you've heard the discussion. Councilmember Toombs has moved approval of amendment number 2. It was properly seconded. We were on debate on that. Councilmember Rosenberg then moved to table that motion to amend with amendment number 2. So where we are is we are voting on Councilmember Rosenberg's tabling motion, which means that if you vote aye, you're voting with Councilmember Rosenberg, and you will table Councilmember Toombs' motion to amend. If you want to discuss amendment number 2 and then vote on it, then you would vote against the tabling motion. All right. So again, we are voting on Councilmember Rosenberg's motion to table. Mr. Clerk, if you would. I'm going to go on the board. Again, if you are for what Councilmember Rosenberg wants, you'd vote aye. If you want to vote on Councilmember Toombs's motion to amend, you would vote no. Right? Board's ready? All right. Mr. Clerk, open the machines. You're voting on Councilmember Rosenberg's motion to table. Already ready? All right. Mr. Clerk, close machines, take the vote. So ayes 9, excuse me, noes 27. Motion to table fails. We are back on Councilmember Toombs's motion to amend. Councilmember Rosenberg, for what purpose?
No, I'm just like to speak when it's my turn to go.
Oh, okay. All right, we'll put you back on. All right. All right, I'm gonna go through the list and I'll come back to Councilmember Rosenberg. Councilmember Gamble, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would like to rise in support of Councilmember Toombs' amendment. As she eloquently stated, this is about equity. There were many years that my district didn't have a project, a traffic calming project. In fact, there were applications that had been in the queue for 4 and 5 years before being selected. And those projects that have been selected were selected using the criteria of that was explained by NDOT in addressing the need for the community. So, you know, everybody has to wait. I mean, there's not a formula where certain districts are waiting longer than others. I mean, I'm sure there are stories where every district has had to wait on a traffic calming project. This bill keeps the program equitable, and for that reason, I support it and ask for everyone's support.
All right. I'm going to go back to Councilmember Rosenberg. Councilmember Rosenberg, you're recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Withdrawal.
All right. So Councilmember Rosenberg is withdrawing your bill. So Councilmember Rosenberg is withdrawing the bill. Okay. And that's a proper way to do it. All right. Bill's withdrawn. We move on. We are on item number 46, BL 2022-1405 by Councilmember Parker, Allen, and others. This is an ordinance to amend section 13.32.165 of the Metropolitan Code to permanently extend the provisions for countywide sidewalk cafes. Councilmember Parker, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have, I believe, the Loan Committee report here.
You've got it. Government operations.
So Government Operations considered the substitute bill. We recommended 5-4-0 against, and then we recommended 5-4-0 against on the bill as substituted.
All right, and now you're back on your bill.
All right, so first I'll move the substitute.
All right, so let's go ahead and, Councilmember Parker is going to move BL 2022-1405 for passage on second reading, properly seconded. Now, you're on your substitute.
I'd like to move the substitute, please.
All right, Councilmember Parker has moved the substitute to 1405, properly seconded. Now back to you for an explanation.
Thank you. So some of y'all will remember that we sort of enacted a pilot program for some outdoor dining stuff back in, I don't know, 2020, I think it was, late summer of 2020 during COVID. We've recognized that that's something that we like in a lot of cases and that it's not causing issues. So I've been working with NDOT and with the administration, as well as some outside groups and council staff to kind of extend this program. NDOT still wants it to be technically a pilot, but this is piece 1 of 3 of the whole outdoor dining package that we're working on. This is the Sidewalk Cafe piece, so this is public right-of-way, not travel lanes, where there's sidewalks wide enough to fit tables safely with proper ADA access, which is actually expanded by a foot. The criteria is expanded to allow better ADA access in here. So I think the substitute's great. I work closely with Director Alarcon and NDOT on this, and I would ask y'all to approve this substitute.
All right,
right, so Councilmember Parker has moved the substitute on 1405, properly seconded. Discussion on the substitute. Councilmember Sledge.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I'll be quick, and I really appreciate the sponsor's work on this. It's a question for the sponsor. I noticed the permit language on there, which I think is great. Does the permit language include prominently or publicly displaying said permit? Because as members, we may encounter folks who are taking advantage of this program, but we don't know if they've got the permit or not. How do we know if they have the permit, I guess is what I'm asking. Sorry.
Councilmember Parker.
Thank you. Is anyone from NDOT here? I know we've talked about that with the curbside piece, but I'm not sure if that is in this substitute for the sidewalk.
I don't believe anybody is here from NDOT, so we don't know. Mr. Jamison?
It does not, the current substitute, it does not include display language of the permit. The permit would be on file, but it would not be physically displayed on site.
I can come. I want to support this. I want it to keep moving. So what I might do is I might ask after this with the sponsor if he might consider a late file on third where we can get some display language in. But I support it as it's written. So.
I'll say to respond to that, yeah, I'd be totally supportive of that. And also, it's something that we've got one or two other bills coming on outdoor dining generally, and I think we could tighten that up with one of those bills if necessary.
Perfect. Thank you, Vice Mayor. Appreciate it.
Anybody else on, we're on the substitute. Anybody else got questions? All right, so we are voting on the substitute by Councilmember Parker. All those in favor of the substitute say aye. Opposed, no. Substitute's on. Councilmember Parker, you're on your bill as substituted.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Would move for approval.
All right, so Councilmember Parker is moving for approval of Bill 2022-1405 as substituted for passage on second reading. Properly seconded. Any discussion on the bill? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of 1405 as substitute for passage on second reading say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no. Bill moves through on second reading. We're on item number 47, BL 2022-1410 by Council Members O'Connell, Johnson, Young, and others. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 6.04 and 13.08 of the Metropolitan Code to authorize the installation of interactive wayfinding kiosks within the public right-of-way, authorizing the Metropolitan Planning Department and the Metropolitan Purchasing Agent to issue a request for proposals for wayfinding kiosks. Councilmember O'Connell, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. President. Request committee reports, please.
Transportation, who has got, Councilmember Nash.
Transportation voted 10 in favor and 0 against for a indefinite deferral at the sponsor's request.
All right, Councilmember Roten, Budget and Finance.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted 14 in favor, 0 against for an indefinite deferral.
Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to move for an indefinite deferral with a brief comment.
All right. The motion is to defer indefinitely BL 2022-1410, properly seconded. Back to you, Councilmember O'Connell.
Thank you, Mr. President. We don't have a date certain for NDOT's work to complete the Downtown Connect study of mobility and traffic. And I think...
Sorry. Hit the wrong button. Sorry.
I wasn't even telling a joke there.
But if you were, you would have been cut off. All right, go ahead.
We've met with NDOT, and we'll continue doing so. We've met with the Downtown Partnership, also with the Convention Visitors Corporation. I think there's a lot of interest in the area of greatest impact for wayfinding to look for a more modern approach, something that can be updated regularly. And there is some utility in that, but I think what we want to do is make sure that that conversation aligns with the overall Connect Downtown initiative. And so without a certain date, I didn't want to just keep deferring this and have it wind up indefinitely deferred by default. And so we'll just do that now. And if we have an opportunity to finalize the discussion, we'll bring it back at that time. So request colleagues support the deferral and renew my motion.
All right. So Councilmember O'Connell has moved to defer indefinitely 1410. It's item number 47. It was properly seconded. Any discussion on the deferral? Seeing none, we're ready to vote. All those in favor of the indefinite deferral of BL 2022-1410 say aye. Opposed, no. The bill is deferred indefinitely. We're on item number 48, Bill 2022-1450 by Councilmember Allen. It's an ordinance amending Chapter 2.222 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws relative to expense reimbursement and legal representation in ethics matters before the Board of Ethical Conduct. Councilmember Allen, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Committee reports.
Budget and Finance, Councilmember Roden. Got it.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted 14 in favor, 0 against for a one-meeting deferral.
All right. Councilmember Murphy, Rules, Confirmations, and Public Elections.
We also deferred one meeting, 6 in favor, 0 against.
All right. Councilmember Allen.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I'd like to move for one meeting deferral.
All right. So the motion is to defer one meeting, properly seconded. Any questions on the deferral motion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the deferral motion of one meeting say aye. Opposed, no. That motion is adopted. This one's deferred one meeting. Last bill on second reading is item number 51, BL 2022-1475 by Council Members Henderson, Pulley, Withers, and others. This is an ordinance approving an agreement by and between the Metropolitan Government and LAZ Parking Georgia, LLC, relating to the operation and management of the on-street metered parking program within the public rights-of-way of the metropolitan area and approving a lease agreement to lease Metropolitan Government property to LAZ Parking Georgia, LLC to use as office space in performing these functions. Councilmember Henderson, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Committee reports, please.
There's a number of them. Let's see, Budget and Finance, Councilmember Roden.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Budget and Finance voted on 1475, 14 in favor, 0 against, and 14 in favor, 0 against for the amendment.
All right, thank you. Planning and Zoning, Councilmember Withers. We're on 1475.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. I apologize for my delay. The Planning and Zoning Committee met and considered BL 2022-1475. We recommended approval of the amendment as well as the ordinance as amended, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right, thank you. And Transportation Infrastructure, Councilmember Nash.
Transportation Infrastructure Committee met and approved the bill 11 in favor, 0 against, as amended.
All right, thank you. Back to you, Councilmember Henderson.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. With all committee reports in favor and none opposed, I would move approval. I also have an amendment, though.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson is moving approval of BL 2022-1475 for passage on second reading. That's properly seconded. Now, back to you, Councilmember Henderson, for the amendment.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. To colleagues, to provide a brief explanation to the amendment. This ordinance was approved by the Traffic and Parking Commission in our September 12th meeting. As part of that motion to approve, there were 2 housekeeping items that were added to the motion and with the intention for them to be incorporated once the bill was on the council side. That is a definition and some clarity around the term citation, as well as clarification that in Schedule 14, a completed, executed lease agreement wherein LAZ Parking will lease for a minimal amount, $1, space internal to the Public Works office, thus saving the city so that they are not leasing independent market rate space. So the amendment addresses those 2 items, Vice Mayor. And with that, I would renew my motion on the amendment, please.
All right, so Councilmember Henderson has moved amendment number 1 to BL 2022-1475. Properly seconded, and then you heard an explanation of the amendment. Questions on the amendment? Councilmember O'Connell on the amendment? Okay. Questions on the amendment? Okay, we're voting on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment's adopted. Now, Councilmember Henderson, you're on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I would move my bill as amended, please.
Okay, so Councilmember Henderson has moved the bill as amended, properly seconded. Now, Councilmember O'Connell on the bill as amended. Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. Some colleagues will remember this was a hugely animating part of the discussion. Last term, we had some tough budget conversations around a parking privatization proposal. And I guess I've really a question for primarily the administration here. During the campaign, the mayor's policy book declared as for parking privatization. I will not, as mayor, be sending that to council. The campaign went on to elaborate. Parking meters can be well managed internally by the city government. I agree with that. When I ran for traffic and parking chair earlier this term, the goal was to apply lessons from that conversation and do it publicly. But went on to say, to suggest otherwise is fundamentally to give up on the role and potential of government to do anything. Then after the election, the mayor said he would not pursue any type of parking privatization deal. And I guess I'd like a better understanding from the administration how they've moved away from the position that public management of this is the appropriate approach.
Mr. Jameson.
So the council will remember back in 2019, the original legislation that came before them did everything at once. It both amended the code and requested approval of the vendor contract. All together, all somewhat. I think the council's reaction was that it felt a bit rushed. And I think the council recalls that legislation was withdrawn. What this administration thought would be better, and with council's advice and consent, was to take a two-step approach. One, address the code first and make sure that we can implement smart parking pursuant to the language in the code and include privatization. And this body considered this last April in BL 2021-646, and it was passed unanimously. And one of the key components of that was allowance for private vendors. And Councilor O'Connor, we're grateful to him for being lead sponsor on that bill, and that discussion was had then. Under the proposal with LAS, there's not a single Metro employee that will lose their job. What is being privatized are components that we either cannot do pragmatically or cannot do legally. Metro government has enormous power and authority under state law, but we cannot engage in lending or loaning. We can't make loans to third parties. We can't engage in anything that resembles regulated banking activities. One of the conveniences that a smart parking program implements would be credit card payment. Credit card payment that you can do also remotely by your phone. Notifications that your time is about to expire, and you can renew your payment by phone through your credit card. Metro governments cannot engage in credit card practices. We can receive payment through credit cards, but we can't be the administrator like a third party, private party can be and do, like LAZ. We also just do not have the capacity technologically. We can't get into the chip manufacturing business. We can't manufacture these kiosk devices. So to that extent, privatization was necessary, and this body, again, unanimously agreed, and we are grateful to Councilman O'Connell for being lead sponsor on that bill in April of 2021. So with that assurance, but that necessity, we believe this is the appropriate path to take, and we're grateful for the council's support.
Thank you, Mr. President. I appreciate part of that explanation. I'm not sure I understand all of it. What we did to the code was certainly to create the allowance for that, but it was not what we're doing here. I mean, I guess what I'm trying to figure out is the change in perspective that certainly you'd have to buy equipment. I mean, we don't make our own cars either that are part of the Metro fleet. I think this is really about the management process of it, whether it's enforcement. I grant that I hear that there will not be a single NDOT employee laid off, but it is the contention that we're better off having private personnel manage this process for us?
Well, you'll recall that under both the legislation that you were lead sponsor on in 2021 and in the current legislation, the overall input operations management are always subject to NDOT approval and oversight. That will remain the case. They have no authority to adjust fees. That still goes before the Traffic and Parking Commission. Day-to-day management operations are under the oversight of NDOT. Nothing has changed since the unanimously approved bill of 2021.
Well, except that we're now considering a proposal to do the actual privatization part.
As we did in 2021 with your help.
Well, no, we didn't do the actual proposal at that point. We authorized it in the code. We didn't actually go to the contract.
All right, so I'm going to try to cut it off and have an exchange of questions back and forth instead of just a running debate. Councilmember O'Connell, anything else?
No, I'll pass for now. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Mendez, you're recognized.
Thanks. Just a question, I guess, for the sponsor. I know there's some typos in the contract and some language that needs to be updated. I'm assuming that's going to happen on third reading, even though it'll require suspension of the rules at the time?
Councilmember Henderson?
Yes, Councilman Mendez, that is the intent. The typos can be addressed on third. My feeling in advancing it today was, given that Director Alarcon was here for a detailed presentation, and we've had a robust dialogue and questions about that. Colleagues, also, I would point you to information sheet on your desk that as long as we were really engaged on the bill and having a vigorous discussion, I would like to keep it moving forward with the intention to address the housekeeping, remaining housekeeping typographical errors on third, please.
If I might. Thank you. I guess my request is, because in addition to typos, there's one section where there's just placeholder language that needs to be filled in with correct language. Rather than it being distributed on the, I guess, the morning of committee meetings on that Monday, I'm wondering whether it's the administration or somebody can get that distributed to us next week.
Mr. Jamieson?
We absolutely can. We've already been in touch with Director Alarcon, and we'll have that amendment at least a week in advance to the council. I hope and pray that Ms. Darby will see that it's simply a housekeeping amendment, but we'll submit it to everyone's review.
All right, thanks a lot. Appreciate it.
Right. Councilmember Porterfield.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I had a question for the administration, if I could.
Sure.
Thank you. I just wanted some clarification on what Mr. Jamieson was saying with regards to us, the limitations with credit cards and credit card chips and things of that nature. What do other cities do? I would assume that not every major city has privatized their parking. So how are other cities handling credit cards and credit card readers and chips?
Mr. Jamieson?
I'm not certain other cities and other outside of Tennessee have the same regulatory limitations that we have in Tennessee. We have, since I've been paying attention to metro businesses, been under pretty strict state restrictions on our ability to be a lender or to engage in any sort of loaning or banking activities. And that includes if we had ever had the desire to be not just the recipient of credit card payments, but to be the operator, we're just not allowed to do that. That comes under the banking restrictions that we're prohibited from engaging in. Would love to do that, but that's not allowed under state law.
Thank you. If I could just indulge in one more clarifying question, because I'm having a hard time just like processing that. So Metro takes credit card payments for other things, right? Like, why would we not be able to take credit card payments for parking?
We can be the recipient of payment, but we cannot be the third party. We cannot be sort of a subcontractor with Visa or MasterCard or any credit card agency to be
We can't process the payment, but we can get the payment?
Correct.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Porterfield. So, Councilmember Henderson, you're next, but I have to go to other people who haven't spoken on this. So, Councilmember Evans, you're recognized.
Previous question.
Councilmember Evans has called the previous question. We are on BL 2022-1475 as amended. So I'm going to see if we're ready for the previous question. All in favor of the previous question, say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. I'll tell you what, just to be on the safe side, because of the nature of a previous question, I think we go on the board. Mr. Clerk, if you don't mind, we're voting on the previous question. Previous question has been called. Mr. Clerk, if you will get the machines ready. That's your little piece of paper. Tell me when you're ready. We're going to be voting on the previous question. Previous question requires 2/3 of the total votes cast. That's why we have to be careful on this one. Councilmember Porterfield, point of order.
Point of order, Vice Mayor. Is the previous question on the amendment or on the bill as amendment?
It's on the bill as amended.
It is on the bill as amended. Okay,
yeah,
thank you.
We're trying to figure out whether we're ready to vote on that.
Okay, thank you, Vice Mayor.
We are ready, so you're voting on the previous question in order to see whether we're ready to vote. If you're in favor of the previous question, if you're ready to vote, you'd vote aye. If you're against the previous question, you'd vote no. Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. Councilmember Hurt, you got to come up here. Councilmember Stiles? How many people have voted? What's the number of overall?
Show me that.
Okay, all right, that's fine. Mr. Clerk, close machines, take the vote. Ayes 24, noes 10, so it won't work. Doesn't. It does? It passes? Okay, just barely. All right. Oh, yes, ma'am. All right, so based upon our number sheet, it passes. Previous question prevails. Needed 23, got 24. So previous question prevails. We are ready to vote. We're voting on BL 2022-1475 as amended. For passage on second reading, we'll try it by voice vote. All those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. I've got a couple of no's over here. I've got 3 in the back. Councilmember Vercher, Councilmember Porterfield, Councilmember Sepulveda. Anybody else as a no? Councilmember Welsh, Councilmember O'Connell. Okay. Councilmember Lee. Okay. I think we're okay. The motion passes on second reading, but we had 6 no's, right? All right, so we're moving ahead. That takes care of all the bills on second reading. We're now on bills on third reading. This is the consent agenda. These are bills on the consent agenda. Item number 57, BL 2022-1346 is on consent. 1383 is on consent. 1434 is on consent. 1435 on consent. 1436 on consent. Item number 62, 1438 is on consent. 1439 is on consent. 1444 is on consent. 1447 is on consent. 1448 is on consent. Item number 70, 1451 is on consent. 1452 is on consent. 1453 is on consent. 1454 is on consent. 1455 is on consent. 1456 is on consent. 1457 is on consent. 1458 is on consent. 1459 is on consent. 1460 is on consent. 1461 on consent. 1462 on consent. 1463 is on consent. 1464 is on consent. 1465, 1466, and 1467, all on consent. Anything that needs to be bumped off of the consent calendar? All right, seeing none, here we go. Bill 2022-1346 by Councilmember Murphy. Councilmember Young.
Was 1383 on consent?
1383 is on consent.
Pull, please.
Okay. And 1383 is bumped off of consent. Okay. And I was just getting ready to get started, Councilmember Young. This was all ready.
You can get started now. You have my permission.
Right. Okay. Item number 57, BL 2022-1346 by Councilmember Murphy. Ordinance amending Chapter 17.04 and 17.12 of the Metropolitan Code to add a definition for trade permit, amend regulations on accessory structures, and to amend regulations on the allowed building height of single and two-family dwellings in the urban zoning overlay district. That's by Councilmember Murphy. Item number 59, BL 2022-1434, by Councilmembers Taylor and Gamble. It's an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from RS5 to R6A zoning for property located at 907 30th Avenue North. It's approximately 184 feet south of Clare Avenue. Item number 60, BL 2022-1435, by Councilmember Rosenberg. It's an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from R40 to SP zoning for property located at Charlotte Pike unnumbered at the corner of Charlotte Pike and Old Charlotte Pike, 1 acre, to permit 53 multifamily residential units. And 1436 is the companion bill by Councilmember Rosenberg. It's an ordinance to authorize building material restrictions and requirements for BL 2022-1435, proposed specific plan zoning district located at Charlotte Pike unnumbered. That proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. BL 2022-1438, item number 62 by Councilmember Toombs. It's an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from RS10 to R10 zoning for property located at 1813 Ashton Avenue. It's approximately 278 feet southwest of John Millette Drive. It's 0.23 acres. BL 2022-1439, item number 63, Taylor and Gamble. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from RS5 to R6A zoning for property located at 725 25th Avenue North, approximately 150 feet north of Mary Street. It's 0.18 acres. Next item is item number 66, BL 2022-1444 by Syracuse. It's an ordinance to authorize building material restrictions requirement for BL 2022-1443. A proposed specific plan zoning district located at 2001 Lebanon Pike and Lebanon Pike unnumbered. It's 300 feet southwest of Quinn Circle. Proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Next item on consent is item number 68, BL 2022-1447 by Councilmember Roberts. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from IR to SP zoning for property located at 1650 54th Avenue North. Current terminus of 54th Avenue North. It's 10.09 acres. And the companion bill, which is 1448 by Councilmember Roberts. Ordinance to authorize building material restrictions and requirements. It's a proposed specific plan zoning district. Proposed ordinance requires certain materials to be restricted in the construction of buildings. Item number 70, BL 2022-1451, Stiles, Roten, and Withers. It's an ordinance approving a license agreement between Metro Government and Vanderbilt University for use of office space and parking spots located at 5244 Hickory Hollow Parkway. And BL 2022-1452, Stiles, Roten, and Withers. It's an ordinance approving a license agreement between the Metropolitan Government through the Department of General Services and the Salvation Army for use of storage space located at 5244 Hickory Hollow Parkway. Item number 72, BL 2022-1453 by Murphy, Roten, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the granting of a permanent easement to Piedmont Natural Gas on certain property owned by the Metropolitan Government located at 4601 Murphy Road. Bill 2022-1454, ordinance authorizing the granting of 2 permanent easements to Harpeth Valley Utilities District of Davidson, Williamson County on certain properties owned by the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County. Roten, Withers are the sponsors. Item number 74, BL 2022-1455, Welsh, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance to amend the GIS System Street and Alley Centerline layer for the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County by abandoning a portion of Witsit Road right-of-way. BL 2022-1456 by O'Connell, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance to amend the GIS Systems and Alley Centerline layer for the Metropolitan Government of Nashville and Davidson County by abandoning a portion of alley number 456 right-of-way from alley number 442 southwestward to dead end. BL 2022-1457, O'Connell, Roten, and Withers, and others. Ordinance authorizing the abandonment and conveyance of the Metropolitan Government's interest in alley number 68 in downtown Nashville and approving an easement and agreement providing for the Metropolitan Government's use of certain space improvements to be constructed in the former alley. Item number 77, BL 2022-1458, O'Connell, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing 915 Division Manager LLC to install, construct, and maintain an underground encroachment in the right-of-way located at 915 Division Street. BL 2022-1459, O'Connell, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon easement rights for property located at 630 Division Street, formerly a portion of alley number 200. Item number 79, BL 2022-1460 by O'Connell, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon easement rights for property located at 1000 Church Street, formerly a portion of alley number 121. BL 2022-1461, O'Connell, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing public utility easement for property located at 1000 Hawkins Street. BL 2022-1462, Toombs, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing water mains and easements, except new water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, check valve assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at 3720 Clarksville Pike. BL 2022-1463, Sledge, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing public sanitary sewer mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements property located at 451 Murfreesboro Pike. BL 2022-1464, that's item 83, Toombs, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept public fire hydrant assemblies and public sanitary sewer manholes for 3 properties located at 2000, 2004, and 2006 South Hamilton Road. Item number 84, BL 2022-1465, Sledge, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept new fire hydrant assemblies and public sanitary sewer manholes, property located at 1414 4th Avenue South. BL 2022-1466, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to abandon existing water mains and easements, relocate fire hydrant assemblies, accept new public water and sanitary sewer mains, fire hydrant assemblies, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements, property located at Ashland City Highway, unnumbered, also known as Eaton Creek Commons Phase 1. And the last bill, item number 86, BL 2022-1467, Taylor, Withers, and Pulley. Ordinance authorizing the Metropolitan Government to accept new public sanitary sewer mains, sanitary sewer manholes, and easements for property located at 3021 Charlotte Avenue, also known as Haven at Charlotte. Taylor, Withers, and Pulley are the sponsors. Anything needs to be bumped off the third reading consent calendar? Seeing none, I've got one set of committee reports in. Councilmember Withers, they're yours. Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning met and considered BL 2022-1346, 1434, 1435, 1436, 1438, 1439, and we recommended approval of that grouping, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions. We then had another member join us. So for BL 2022-1444, we recommended approval, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions. Then we go back to 2022-1447 and 48, 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions. I think that takes me through all of ours.
I believe that is it. All right. Councilmember Withers, a motion to approve the third reading consent agenda.
I would like to move the third reading consent calendar.
I got a motion properly seconded. Any discussion on the third reading consent agenda? Seeing none, all those in favor of third reading consent say aye. Opposed, no. Third reading consent agenda passes. All right, go back and pick up the bills that were not on consent. Item number 55, BL 2022-1061 by Councilmember Rutherford. And we can take that with item 56, that's the companion bill. BL 2022-1061. Ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from AR2A to SP zoning for property located at 14656 Old Hickory Boulevard at the southern terminus of Harris Hills Lane. It's 81.38 acres. And then the companion bill, BL 2022-1062, ordinance to authorize building material restrictions requirements for BL 2022-1061, proposed specific plan zoning district located at 14656 Old Hickory Boulevard. Proposed ordinance requires certain materials restricted in the construction of building. Councilmember Rutherford, you are on your bills.
Thank you, Mr. President. Committee reports, please.
Planning and Zoning, Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee met and considered BL 2022-1061 and 1062. At the request of the sponsor, we recommended a two-meeting deferral. 9 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstention.
All right. Councilmember Rutherford.
I'm moving a two-meeting deferral with comment.
Okay. Got a motion to defer 2 meetings, properly seconded. Back to you.
Thank you. Colleagues will remember that this is the legislation from last week that was on public hearing that was in part responsible for our being here till 2:30 in the morning. Yeah, you remember that very well. One thing I can add that I want to point out that I think people should know is that there's been a lot of goodwill and a lot of progress, more so, I would say, in the last 2 weeks than it had occurred in the previous 6 months. I believe that is due in part because we moved this legislation beyond public hearing and second reading to third reading. That created a situation where folks were more willing to come to the table, if you will. I believe had we deferred this legislation on second reading, the same back and forth that had been taking place over the course of 6 months or more would have just continued, and we would not have advanced anything, and there would not be the spirit of cooperation that exists currently. And I'm now doing exactly what I said I would do in our last meeting, and I'm deferring 2 meetings on third reading so that we can continue this conversation with this renewed spirit of cooperation and understanding from all parties. Thank you.
All right. Councilmember Rutherford has moved to defer both items 55 and 56 for 2 meetings. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion on the motion to defer? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to defer 2 meetings say aye. Opposed, no. Both those bills are deferred 2 meetings. We are now on item number 58, BL 2022-1383 by Councilmember Syracuse, Evans, Allen, and others. It's an ordinance to amend Title 10 of the Metropolitan Code of Laws to prohibit smoking and the use of vapor products in certain age-restricted venues. Councilmember Syracuse, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. All committees in. I move approval.
All right. Councilmember Syracuse has moved approval, properly seconded. Discussion on the bill. No discussion? We'll try it by voice vote. All those in favor of BL 2022-1383 say aye. Aye. Opposed, no? No. Okay, we're on the board. This is on third reading. Mr. Clerk. Ready? Mr. Clerk, we are voting on third and final passage of BL 2022-1383. Mr. Clerk, open up the machines. Everybody in? Mr. Clerk, close the machines, take the vote. Ayes 30, no fours, one abstention. The bill passes on third reading. All right, we are now ready for item number 64, that's by Councilmember Young, Bill 2022-1440. That's an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from IR to RS 3.75 zoning for properties located at 1322, 1324, 1326, 1330, 1334 Plum Street, southwest corner of 2nd Street and Plum Street. It's 0.6 acres. Councilmember Young, you're recognized on your bill.
Move approval, and I also have a housekeeping amendment.
All right, so Councilmember Young has moved approval of BL 2022-1440.
Oh, and committee report, sorry.
Yeah, for passage on third reading, properly seconded. Committee reports, Councilmember Withers.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee met and considered ordinance BL 2022-1440. We recommended approval of the amendment as well as the bill as amended, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right, Councilmember Young, back to you.
I renew my motion, or I will move the amendment.
Okay, Councilmember Young has moved amendment to BL 2022-1440, properly seconded. Back to you for an explanation of the amendment.
It's a typo in one of the lines. It's a typo.
All right, so there's a typo that is corrected by the amendment. Do you know who made the typo?
I believe it was Ms. Milligan.
All right. Okay, Ms. Milligan. Ms. Milligan, you're recognized on the typo. Don't worry about it.
That was actually filed by the council office.
All right.
All right. It probably was not a good idea to ask that question. All right. So, so the amendment fixes a typo. It's been properly seconded. Any discussion on the typo? Seeing none, we're ready to vote on the amendment. All those in favor of the amendment say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The amendment goes on. Now, Councilmember Young, you're on your bill as amended.
Now that we're without typos, not from Ms. Milligan,
right,
I will move approval of the bill as amended.
All right, so Councilmember Young has moved approval of BL 2022-1440 as amended, properly seconded. This is a disapproved bill. Any questions on the bill? Councilmember Young has moved approval of the bill as amended. Again, properly seconded. This is going to require 27 votes. We're on the board. Seeing none, Mr. Clerk, if you would, get the machines ready. We are voting on Councilmember Young's motion to approve BL 2022-1440 as amended on third and final reading. Ready? All right, Mr. Clerk, if you would, open up the machines. Councilmember Roten and Councilmember Vercher. Councilmember Roten, quit talking to your friends back there and come up here and vote. Councilmember Vercher? We're voting on BL 2022-1440.
I think it's his old age.
Yeah. Everybody in? Mr. Clerk, close the machines, take the vote. Ayes 35, no 0, no abstentions. The bill passes on third and final reading. All right. Item number 65, Bill 2022-1443 by Councilmember Syracuse. This is an ordinance to amend Title 17 by changing from RS 10 to SP zoning. Properties located at 2001 Lebanon Pike and Lebanon Pike unnumbered, approximately 300 feet southwest of Quinn Circle. Councilmember Syracuse, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. I have a minor amendment. I will move for approval.
All right. I got to get a committee report from Councilmember Withers.
Sorry.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Planning and Zoning met and considered Ordinance Bill 2022-1443. We recommended the amendment as well as the bill as amended, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right. Councilmember Syracuse.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval of the amendment with a brief explanation.
All right. I got a motion to approve the amendment, properly seconded. Back to you.
Thank you so much. This keeps an existing bus stop until a sidewalk is going to be constructed so that there will be access for everybody, to ensure access for everybody. So that's what this does. Move approval on the amendment.
Okay. Got a motion to approve the amendment, properly seconded. You've heard an explanation of the amendment. Any questions or discussions on the amendment? Seeing none, all those in favor of the amendment say aye. Opposed, no. Amendment's adopted. Councilmember Syracuse, you're on your bill as amended.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. Move approval as amended.
Okay. Councilmember Syracuse has moved approval of BL 2022-1443 as amended for passage on third and final reading. Properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve BL 2022-1443 as amended on third and final reading say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. Motion is adopted. We have one more bill, and then we have one last announcement. Item number 67, BL 2022-1445 by Councilmember Toombs, an ordinance to amend Title 17 by change from RS 10 to R10 zoning for properties located at River Drive unnumbered, 1716, 1805, 1823, and 3101 River Drive east of Hydes Ferry Road. It's 2.14 acres. Councilmember Toombs, you're recognized on your bill.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. Committee report.
Councilmember Withers, Planning and Zoning.
Thank you, Mr. Vice Mayor. The Planning and Zoning Committee met and considered Ordinance Bill 2022-1445. We recommended approval of the amendment and the bill as amended, 10 in favor, 0 against, 0 abstentions.
All right, thank you, Councilmember Toombs. You're recognized on your bill.
Thank you. I'd like to move the substitute.
All right, we got a motion to approve Bill 2022-1445. Properly seconded, so we got the bill in front of us. That's Councilmember Toombs' motion. Councilmember Toombs is now moving the substitute. Properly seconded. Back to you for an explanation of the substitute.
The substitute just addresses some concerns from residents. It takes out one property to 3101 River Drive and sets some standards for setbacks and building size and limits the ability of 1716 to subdivide.
Okay, you've heard an explanation of the substitute. Again, it was properly seconded. Any discussion on the substitute? Seeing none, all those in favor of the substitute say aye. Opposed, no. Substitute's adopted. You're on your bill as substituted.
Move for approval as substituted.
Councilmember Toombs moves for approval of Bill 2022-1445 as substituted, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of the bill 1445 as substituted for passage on third and final reading say aye. Aye. Opposed, no. The bill passes on third and final reading. That completes the calendar. Councilmember Murphy, you're recognized.
Thank you, Vice Mayor. As you guys all heard tonight, we had at least 2 bill sponsors commit to make a rule suspension to amend their bills on third reading. As Rules Chair, we had already been talking in rules about what constitutes emergencies, when should rules be suspended, and so we have settled on, although not the entire Rules Committee can be there, everyone is invited this Monday, October 25th, just kidding, the 24th at 5 o'clock. We're going to meet here. I know there's another meeting beforehand, but we're going to start the conversation about what is an emergency, what things should be, rules should be suspended on third. If we're going to continue to suspend on third, should we not have the rule about suspending on third, so on and so forth. We need your input, so please attend. It will be the first of 2 sessions.
Thank you, Councilmember Murphy. Remember, Councilmember Mendez and the task force meeting on the 26th at what time? 4:30. All right. Motion to adjourn. Got a motion, properly seconded. Any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Opposed, no. We stand adjourned.
When the council last met on October 4th, it met for 8 hours until about 2:30, 3 o'clock in the morning. Tonight, the council got its business done, which included a 35-page long agenda with 86 items. Got that done in about 2.5 hours. About 10 minutes after 9, started a little bit later because of the announcements meeting earlier. The council, that's much quicker than it was before, but it had several more thorny legislation to deal with that time. The council, among its major pieces of legislation tonight, approved on third and final reading by a vote of 30 to 4 a bill that would prohibit smoking and the use of vapor products in certain age-restricted venues, those age 21 and up. Those who are proposing the bill say the law would protect musicians, particularly staff members who work and play in those establishments. The council, however, did struggle for a while in understanding exactly what establishments might still exempt from the ban. That would include cigar bars, hookah bars, and perhaps a few others. The council, after that, there was some question in doing how much changes there had been, whether the council would approve it tonight, get 21 votes. They easily got that with, again, a vote of 30 to 4 tonight to pass it on to Mayor Cooper for his consideration. Another bill that passed tonight on second reading was one that created quite a bit of controversy, at least the issue did 4 years ago during the last term of the council. The council tonight approved on a voice vote, although there were 5 or 6 no votes, a contract with LAZ Parking Georgia LLC to take over the operation and management of the city's on-street metered parking program. Those are on the public right-of-way. The firm will be used to help modernize and make the city's parking meter system more efficient and convenient, as well as better maximize the value of the program for funding future traffic and parking improvements. There were, as we said, some no votes, but it does appear that the 21 votes that would be needed on third and final reading for this do appear to be right there where they need to be passed in 2 weeks. Council also approved a number of appointments from Mayor John Cooper to the board tonight. They also elected, among 5 nominations, Matt Pulley to fill a vacant seat on the city's Health and Education Facilities Board. Under resolutions, the council approved all the bills we talked about in the opening that were related to applying for various federal and state grants for pedestrian, state, and bike safety. One would apply for a $26 million grant from the feds to construct safety improvements for those walking, biking, and using transit along Nolensville Pike between McCall Street and Haywood Lane. Another resolution would apply for a $14.7 million grant from the state to replace 2 bridges over 2 active CXS rail lines. The one's in Madison and one is in East Nashville. And finally, they also approved a grant that's already been approved for $60,000 from the state. This will create PSAs and other behavioral changes. Hopefully, the PSAs will be used for education and the marketing of bicycle and pedestrian safety. No local matches are approved for that. On memorializing resolutions, the council approved a resolution honoring the career and retirement of State Senator Brenda Gilmore. It also marked the 200th anniversary of the city cemetery. It also marked the 25th anniversary of Thistle Farms and its founder, Reverend Becca Stevens, for their inspiring work on behalf of women survivors recovering and healing from prostitution, trafficking, and addiction. The council also designated October as a Breast Cancer Aware Month. Also, without dissent, although there were some abstentions, the council went on record against the state Constitution Amendment number 1 that's on the November 8th ballot. Amendment number 1 would place the state's right to work laws into the Constitution itself. On second reading, the council also approved, after putting in a substitute bill that would require any payments made in lieu of taxes by the Convention Center Authority be utilized for affordable housing initiatives. One of the things that was changed was also include workforce housing to be involved in that as far as projects that might be funded out of the funds coming in. Council has been struggling a lot with the very popular traffic calming program, a bill to do something to make changes in that. The council took the unusual step at its last meeting to rescind action on a bill on second reading for that. It came back up on second reading tonight, more amendments being offered to the point where finally the the sponsor decided to withdraw the legislation, so there is nothing before the council right now to change or modify the traffic calming program. Another bill that was deferred twice, it was finally passed tonight on second reading, would extend without the need for the council to this is again on second reading, assuming it's approved on third reading in 2 weeks, it would extend the relaxed regulations on Sidewalk Cafe dining facilities within the public right-of-way. The original effort was to provide some relief to restaurants impacted by COVID-19 because of the resulting social distancing and seating capacity requirements. There were some concerns about it, but apparently the substitute ordinance resolved enough of those problems to pass the bill on second reading tonight. It goes on to third reading in 2 weeks. The council is now in recess until the first Tuesday in November. That actually is the first day of November. We'll be here at that time to provide live coverage. Until then, I'm Pat Nolan, and good night from the council chambers. Tonight's meeting of the Metropolitan, Nashville, and Davidson County Council has been coming to you live from the council chambers at the historic Metro Courthouse. It's been a public affairs presentation of the Metro Nashville Network.
This has been a service of the Metro Nashville Network. If you would like to see this presentation again, or for more information on this and other programs, visit nashville.gov.